Sweet glazed donuts, pizza, cheeseburgers, and Philly cheesesteaks. If you've ever talked about food 1 second in just to poke and prod Zach McCracken, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, again at the penultimate day of the week. After the big earnings reports that we had last night, yes, we're going to go ahead and talk about all of them. We're going to take a look at the broader market. Of course, we're going to do some trading today. I think we're going to have Markets and Mayhem joining us for the session again. No guest here this morning. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for Thursday, July 24th, starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. I hope that you had a wonderful Wednesday evening. I hope that you finished off Wednesday pretty nice. I know we had a lot of earnings reports yesterday. We are going to go through some of those reports here today. I'm sure we're going to look at a lot of those stocks. We got green arrows here in the pre-market, got news on another deal and all that. Things are looking good for the market and things are looking good for the show here. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Paul, good morning. It's great to see you. Paul is first today, folks. The overnight futures trader gets it done this morning. You absolutely love to see it. Dirkus, welcome back. It's good to see you again. Michelle, good morning. Welcome back. Hopefully you're doing well. EKS, welcome back. Dow, down 9.45%. Earnings cut, dividend earnings minus 9.4% on earnings, cuts dividend, a cyclical representing slower demand and tariff. American Eagle plus 19. Isn't Sydney Sweeney doing commercials for them now, showing off the jeans? That might keep going here. EKS, good to see you. Thanks for joining us last night. Really good questions too last night. Appreciate you. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Welcome back. Good to see you again. Pete, locked in. Good to see you as always. Jane, good morning. Welcome back. Austin, good morning. Welcome back. 3D, buenos dias. Nice to see you. Dave, good morning. What's your take on the Tesla earnings report? We're going to take a look here at Tesla. The way I would sum it up, it might have some rough quarters ahead, but ultimately that is going to lead to buying opportunities. So your patience, your risk tolerance, and your risk management are going to shine if you plan on making successful Tesla trades for probably the next 2 quarters. That would be my knee-jerk reaction, but we'll dive into that report a little bit more. Producer, good morning. It's good to see you again. Jeremy, welcome back. Good to see you. Peter, welcome back. Hopefully the weather out there in Colorado is good. Good to see you again, my man. Angelica, good morning. Welcome back. Ryan, great name. Good morning. Got a feeling about UAVS, IOVA, and OSRH are going to move today. Somewhere Rustam is clapping his hands about that OSRH. We'll see if that ends up going. Zach McCracken, good morning. How's that new record doing, buddy? Dan, good morning. Good to see you again. Day Trader, welcome back. Good as always. Tanya, welcome back. Empyrean, welcome back. Good to see you again last night as well. With us on the late webinar and then here early for the start of the show, that's dedication, Empyrean. Good stuff. Quantum, good morning. Kerching, good morning. Tyler, good morning. Dermal, good morning. Average Options, hello, good morning. A record now that cannot be broken. Exactly, Zach. We did it. We got to the bottom of that one. There's Rustam. Let's go. Rustam, you know what? One up. Good call. OSRH. You were on this first, okay? You were on this first. I didn't get any context from you. I didn't know why. You didn't explain it, but you were on it first. Really good stuff. Glad to see that getting done for you. Absolutely awesome. JJ, buenos dias. Hello. Glass half full. Hello. Lambo rolls. Hello. Maverick. White chocolate mocha. Good morning. There's Rustam. There's Rustam. Get that gains, Rustam. Let's go. Francis, good morning. To that Figma IPO is next week. We're definitely going to be looking at that. Good morning, Ryan. DCL, good morning. Kevin, good morning. 3D, I couldn't find the link for last night's webinar. Darn, we put up the QR code yesterday. I think the producer put it in chat. 3D, we do have a replay. So I don't know if you want to email me, I'd be happy to send you that replay. Frankly, you can email anyone from the team, but reach out to us. There is a replay. We can get that here for you today. Tim did give out some stocks yesterday. And we also talked about the new service that he's doing with Anne-Marie. But if you want that, reach out to somebody. We'll get it for you, I promise. Ed, good morning. Zoo, good morning. Paulo, good morning. Will, good morning. Florida Yacht Insurance Guy, good morning. Chuck, great to see you again. Carlos, Samel, and Billy, good morning. Another Edward, Whis locked in. Let's go. You know what? Actually, now that I'm thinking about this, I can probably do this myself. Let me see if I can get that. Hang on a sec, guys. Hang on a tick. All right, here's your replay. So for here, you don't even have to email me. I mean, you can if you want, but here you go. There's your link in the chat for the replay from last night's webinar. Knock yourself out. We had a good time. We had a really good time. Tim was well prepared. So was Anne-Marie. We got a whole lot of stuff done. E-Rock, good morning. It's good to see you again. Chad, good morning. There you go. Replay in the link there. Buffalo, good morning. Whis, good morning. And Glass Half Full and Chad. I think I got them all. All right, let's dive in. We're going to start here with the SPY chart as per usual. And guess what? We're up near the highs. We actually traded up after hours yesterday. And today, at least so far here in the pre-market, we are holding higher. S&P futures up 0.12%. Dow futures are actually down. That's due to some earnings. Dow futures are the week here this morning, down 0.44%. And the NASDAQ futures up 0.33%, likely on the back of those Google reports from yesterday. So looks like we're looking at a positive open. The SPY here, it does look like we're kind of slowly moving higher out of that sideways area. Remember, I had said 630 to 640 really seems to be like the area the SPY would trade up to. Well, here we are sitting at 634.76, almost smack dab in the middle of that range. We'll see what happens if we can break out of this range. I still kind of expect us to trade to the top end of that. I would absolutely not be surprised if we printed 640 or even if we kind of peaked above 640. But we'll see how long the SPY can stay up here. It is worth noting that the RSI is now in overbought territory technically, but as we've seen before, it can still move in that direction once it enters overbought territory via the RSI. So this is kind of where we're at here today. Key levels are going to be the low from yesterday. So if we look at yesterday's candle here, that low is 629.73. That should definitely be a support area if the market takes a turn for the south here turn to the south here today, excuse me. And then otherwise, we're just kind of in melt up mode, grind up mode. We'll see if we can actually end up hitting 640 there. So, okay. Let's take a look at the morning report here real quick. So we do have new home sales coming today, and we have the manufacturing PMI and the global services PMI and the initial jobless claim. So although we did not have a lot of economic data this week, we do have a couple of prints today, and we'll see if that has any effect on the market. We just talked about the market here. Dow really the only thing under pressure. IWM also under pressure. So we'll see if that can turn around or find any footing here. As far as IPOs, we do have a couple here today. None of these are on my list. You folks are already looking ahead to the Figma IPO, which is exactly what I'm doing. I do hope to be able to trade that on IPO day, depending on what the stock price action does. But remember the little tip that I gave you. If you can't day trade or you don't feel comfortable day trading or you don't like day trading, I think one of the ways that you can probably play IPOs is note the IPO date, set an alert in your calendar for 30 days later or 29 days later, because that 30-day quiet period, when that elapses, you are likely to hear something from analysts, someone that covers it, maybe something from the company themselves. And that will give time for the stock to kind of settle out with that post-IPO volatility. And then if you get any type of positive speak about it or like a coverage from an analyst or a price target or something like that, you might have a pop there and you might have some pretty good timing if you play out that quiet period. So just something to keep in mind that probably works better on well-known stocks or stocks that are likely to get coverage versus some of these smaller IPOs that just kind of go ham. But nonetheless, LHAI, this is Link Home Holdings, this priced at 4. This is going to IPO here today. ARX Accelerant Holdings, this priced between 18 and 20 and will IPO today. And then MH McGraw-Hill, this one probably going to be the bigger or maybe the most popular IPO here today. That price between 19 and 22. We'll see where that one opens as we get closer to the opening time. Some initiations here. LVS, they actually reported earnings last night and traded higher. LVS getting an overweight rating from Barclays with a $58 price target. Current price is $51, so we're pretty much almost there. Otis got a underweight rating there. Moody's got an overweight and an outperform 580 and 552 price target. That's currently sitting at 507. We take a look at some more of this. Let's see if there's anything else in here. Titan America, TTAM, this catching and underperform with a $14 price target. It's pretty much already right there. And then Chubb, this also getting a neutral rating here. This is about 270, got a 283 price target. So not a whole lot going on here, but now you are prepared. Let's dive into some of the news and we'll take a look at some of the different stocks that are moving here. Okay. U.S. stock futures were fluctuating on Thursday after rallying on Wednesday, and the benchmark indices are mixed. Alphabet drove gains as Google search brought in... thank you, producer. Alphabet drove gains as Google search alone brought in $54.19 billion in the second quarter and raised its capital expenditure forecast for 2025 to around $85 billion, citing strong and growing demand for its cloud product and services. Now, that first sentence there is something that I want to focus on because the last Google swing trade that I took, it actually happened, the entry happened while the show was over. It happened in the afternoon when we got news that OpenAI was creating a web browser. I called this an idiot drop. That's not something that I invented. That's not a name that I invented. That's actually something that I got from one of my more experienced quote unquote mentors. And basically the thesis here is that a stock is selling off pretty rapidly for not a good reason, and that makes for a good buying opportunity. I came on the show the next day and said, yeah, this is what's going on. OpenAI is creating a browser. Google sold off because, oh my God, AI is going to replace search, blah, 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 blah. Well, we got the earnings report and none of that, exactly none of that is happening. So although my trade was closed before the earnings, this was a nice little cap to the thesis of that trade. We were buying Google at that point at like 176. Stock here this morning, much higher than that. Let me see where we were at here on Google this morning. 198.5 going for that 200. Also, shout out to Lion Atlas, who said that Google was going to 200 after I discussed that trade. So nice to see that work out. Hopefully some other folks were able to hit that trade. And if you traded Google for earnings, you were probably a winner. Otherwise, it looked like option sellers kind of won the day yesterday. Meanwhile, Tesla dropped after CEO Elon Musk and CFO Vabhav Taneja, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, warned about the projected impacts of Trump's tax and spending bill and ending the EV tax credit. Additionally, Trump said that the U.S. trading partners will see tariff rates ranging from 15 to 50% at an AI summit hosted by the Hill and Valley Forum and the All In podcast. Quick check-in on the treasuries here. The 10-year bond yielded 4.4 and the 2-year bond was 3.89. Those did tick up a little, but still not near a concerning level. Let's go to some analyst insights here. Despite a recent uptick in performance, the fundamentals do not support a favorable rating on U.S. small cap equities. That's according to Scott Wren, senior global market strategist at Wells Fargo Investment Institute. Wren expressed a cautious stance, advising clients to temper expectations for the asset class for the remainder of 2025 and 2026. Now, this kind of flies in the face to some of the stuff that we're looking at. And I actually have another article here or another trade idea kind of outlining the other side of this because, frankly, I don't think that this is set in stone. If we're going to get lower interest rates, if we're going to start a cutting cycle, even if that cutting cycle goes slowly, lower interest rates should be better for small cap stocks. So we'll see how this all shakes out here. Scott obviously does a really good job, but I just want to outline that I don't know that this is set in stone, and we'll see how these assets perform. Nonetheless, I want to present both sides of the coin here for you. Quote, "We do not believe the fundamentals support a favorable rating on U.S. small cap equities," stated Wren, noting that many strategists have struggled to accurately time a resurgence in small caps relative to their large cap counterparts over the past few years. Now, this part is absolutely true. Small caps have been notably weak. And outside of, some of like the pumpy stuff that we see or some of the different headlines like adding some type of crypto to the treasury or something like that, these small caps have a real tough time getting out of their way unless they feel like pump and dumps or some type of crazy catalyst. We'll see if any of that changes. My hope here personally, just so you're aware of my own bias, my hope here is that small caps start to outperform, because I would love to see even more rotation and diversification out of some of the leading tech names. I know the AI theme is sucking up all of the oxygen in the room, but frankly, I'd love to see this kind of diversify a little bit. I think that would be better for us trading. The Russell 2000 index, a key measure of small cap performance, has seen a noticeable improvement since the S&P 500 index hit a year low on April 7th. Since then, the Russell has slightly outperformed the S&P 500, rallying 27.7% compared to the latter's 27.2%, both pretty good gains there from April. And that is of July 23rd. The recent neck-and-neck performance has drawn attention, particularly given the S&P 500's significant outperformance over the past 2 years. Over the past 4 years, the S&P is up nearly 55%, while the Russell is largely flat. Attributes the historical underperformance and recent improvement to the combination of poor fundamentals in recent years and market risk tolerance more recently. He elaborated that smaller cap equities typically possess weaker balance sheets and are more sensitive to interest rates, relying heavily on credit. That's really the key here, right? Money will cost less if interest rates go down. Thus, some of these small cap companies should be more agile and more liquid, being able to do that. Again, we'll see if that ends up coming through here. Wells Fargo Investment Institute has maintained a neutral weighting on U.S. small cap equities for nearly a year, while investors have recently gravitated towards small caps amid a risk-on mood. We've talked about that a lot, coinciding with Bitcoin, and expectations for multiple Federal Reserve interest rate cuts this year. Wren stated, quote, we, on the other hand, have stuck with our recommendations to lean toward quality large cap equities and look for the Fed to cut interest rates only one time this year. Okay, so there we go. That's really the rub there. They only see one interest rate cut. We've heard anywhere between 2 and 4. I don't think we are getting one here in July, so we'll see. September seems to be the target for that. But again, we'll see. As a result, Wells Fargo suggests investors consider trimming their exposure to U.S. small cap equities, either holding those funds for future reinvestment at lower levels or reallocating them to favored sectors that have recently underperformed, such as energy, utilities, and financials. Now, that idea is not bad. Several of you have talked about that as well. Meanwhile, Ryan Dietrich of Carson Research highlighted that July 2025 was going to match an old record from 1950 to 1961 when the S&P 500 index was up for 11 consecutive days. This July would mark the 11th consecutive year as well, starting from 2014. With a week to go, the S&P 500 is up a very solid 2.5% in July. This would be the 11th consecutive year stocks were higher in July. So again, we'll see how that all shakes out here today. Now, got another story here. The NASDAQ 100 signal last flash. This NASDAQ 100 signal last flash in 1999. What came next was insane. I don't think I need to tell you folks about that if you were around for that. The NASDAQ 100's monster rally off the April tariff-induced panic has entered rarefied territory, with one technical streak not seen since the heart of the dot-com boom in 1999 and now lighting up, and history suggests it may have more room to run. After plunging in April under the weight of the renewed trade war fears, the QQQ, which tracks the NASDAQ 100, has stormed back with a stunning 38% gain through July 22nd. This alone is impressive, but under the surface, technical analysts are buzzing about something even more remarkable. The index has now traded above its 20-day moving average for 61 consecutive sessions, a bullish streak not seen since 1999. We talked about Ryan Dietrich flagging that a couple of days ago. That's right, this kind of strength has only occurred during some of the most powerful tech bull runs in history. Only 1999 beats this momentum run. To find a longer stretch of daily closes above the 20-day moving average, you have to go back to late 1998 and into early 1999. That run lasted 76 sessions from mid-October to early February. And what came next? Well, between February 5th, 1999 and February 8th, 2000, the NASDAQ 100 skyrocketed 104%, delivering one of its biggest rolling year gains ever. The NASDAQ composite, heavily weighted with tech and internet stocks, peaked at $5,048.62 on March 10th, 2000, before plunging nearly 80% by October of 2002. The broader market, including the S&P 500, also declined during this period, though less severely. Now, we've talked about golden crosses before. I've got more of it for you here today. In late June, the NASDAQ 100 also triggered a golden cross, a classic bullish signal in technical analysis where the 50-day moving average rises above the 200-day moving average. Better still if that 200 is sloping up. Out of 9 trades, 8 were profitable, most delivering double-digit returns. That makes the golden cross a historically consistent bullish indicator during strong uptrends, such as the one we're seeing now. While nothing is guaranteed, this type of sustained momentum combined with bullish technical signals often lays the groundwork for further upside, especially in a market driven by mega cap tech and AI optimism. Even if today's rally doesn't mirror the full scale of the late 90s boom, it's hard to ignore that similar conditions are stacking up: rapid price gains, strong breadth, and powerful trend signals. History suggests the bulls remain firmly in control. That makes sense to me. Okay, now let's talk about Tesla. I'm going to go back to Pro real quick, and we're going to start with chart. Let's do TSLA here. Bang, this is what we're looking at. So Tesla here was at about 332. It actually had made a pretty nice move. We had moved above the 200. We've moved above the 50. We've moved above the 20. And it looked like we were moving a little bit higher. Now with the earnings print here, Tesla down 4.4% here, and we're giving up all 3 of those moving averages that we just talked about. So now that we're trading beneath it, I've got a couple of levels here. Definitely think the 300 round number will come into play, but more specifically than that, this 295 area with the 100-day moving average should provide ample support. This is also near a recent low at 290, 291. And as far as upside levels, you can just very simply use the moving averages here. I've got 315.5, 319.32, and 326.50. So those upside levels will represent the 20, 200, and 50-day moving average. And I would imagine that if Tesla has any type of bullish run here today, it would likely find some resistance at those levels. Might go through them, but it will likely find some short-term resistance there. Here's Tesla's earnings. So what happened? Tesla reported second quarter earnings revenue of $22.5 billion, down 12% year over year. The revenue missed a street consensus of $22.8 billion, so it missed slightly there, but it still did miss. The company reported automotive revenue of $16.66 billion, which was down 16% year over year. Tesla earnings per share were 40 cents in the coming quarter, missing a street consensus estimate of 42 cents per share. The company said revenue declined due to lower deliveries, lower regulatory credit revenue, and lower average selling prices, offset slightly by growth in services and other revenue. And that part's important because we've talked a lot about Optimus, the robots, automation, and AI. We kind of already see in some of the report that when they have weak car sales, there are other things that this company does to kind of offset that. And my suspicion is that as we move forward here, there are going to be more and more things that offset that. We've talked a lot about Optimus, automation, the whole thing. I think that can make a significant or be a significant driver of Tesla's profit, although it might take some time for that to materialize. The company said operating income was $0.9 billion in the quarter. That's down 42% year over year. Tesla's operating margin was 4.1% from the quarter. Tesla previously reported second quarter deliveries of 384,122, which was down from 443,956 in the same quarter last year. Production of 110,244 units in the quarter were down slightly from the 410,831 units in last year's second quarter. The company called the second quarter a seminal point in history as the beginning of a transition from leading electric vehicles and renewable energy industries to also becoming a leader in AI and robotics. Again, this is going to be key for Tesla and the future price of Tesla stock. Tesla highlighted the launch of its first robotaxi service in Austin, Texas in June. The company has ended the quarter with $1.24 billion in digital assets on the balance sheet, likely related to its Bitcoin holdings. The value increased from $951 million in the previous quarter following Tesla's recent adoption of new reporting method for valuing its cryptocurrency holdings. Now, what's next? Tesla said it continues to expand its vehicle offerings with the first builds of a more affordable model in June and volume production planned for the second half of 2025. Now, if they can execute on this, this is going to be key because with the removal of the tax credits, it makes sense to have a cheaper model kind of soak up some of the lower price buyers there. And we'll see if that makes a difference here for Tesla, although I believe that margins on that should be a lot tighter. Tesla is also continuing the progress of the Tesla Semi and Cybercab, both planned for volume production in 2026. We'll see if those time estimates were correct. Despite a sustained, uncertain macroeconomic environment resulting from shifting tariffs, unclear impacts from changes to fiscal policy and political sentiment, we continue to make high-value investments in CapEx and research and development while ensuring a strong balance sheet. Tesla said its priorities remain as delivering affordable, autonomy-capable vehicles, growing the energy business, and advancing robotic efforts. The company said it has enough liquidity to fund its product roadmap, so that shouldn't be an issue. Quote, "We are making prudent investments that will set up both our vehicle and energy businesses for growth. The actual results will depend on a variety of factors, including the broader macroeconomic environment, the rate of acceleration of our autonomy efforts, and production ramp at our factories." So you had asked me earlier, what do I think about the Tesla report? Well, the report was not great, but pretty much everything that was in here was already expected. So don't really see a whole lot of surprises here. And I would be tempted to say that Tesla is more than likely going to hunt for its bottom and then bounce from there. I think some of the future prospects are still really good here. And I think one of the big things, as we had asked from our viewers here quite often, is that Elon Musk returning to actually being the CEO, he's there 7 days a week and sleeping at the office. That's viewed as a positive. And I would imagine that would continue here for Tesla. So I think that the pullback, just to too long didn't read abbreviation of that. Well, I understand the pullback. I actually think it represents a buying opportunity. Call me crazy. Okay, next, we're going to take a look at Google. I kind of already talked a little bit about Google because we had a swing trade on leading into earnings that was really, really good. Well, here we go. I had deleted the other day the head and shoulders that I had preemptively drawn on here because I wanted to see if Google was going to fill out that right shoulder. I decided that, man, if you just move that up a little bit, it's pretty equal. It's pretty even to the left shoulder. And look, Google's price was chilling right under that. Well, thank gosh for the earnings because that popped us above this. And I think it's probably official. We can delete this. Now I'll wait for the end of the day here, just in case Google has some massive reversal here today. Google up $3 or 1.72% here in the pre-market. You can see this is what the intraday chart looks like. So the other thing here is that the other thing here on this one is that while it is moving higher here, it's only moving higher here by 1.72%. And if we take a look back at the news feed here, where was that? Options implied a 5.3% move. So despite Google moving in the upside direction here, it didn't move nearly as much as the options predicted. And as a result, that should favor option sellers. However, Google is moving higher here. So again, the one thing that I'm going to be looking at here today, do we get a reversal? Because if we do, boy, oh boy, it looks like we have the makings here of a head and shoulders. We have a neckline down here at about 165, maybe even a little bit lower. And we have a couple of these moving averages that might catch this price around 175 as well. So something to think about here on Google. Been nice to us recently, but we'll see how this actually trades. Now let's dive into the report. Thank you, producer, for some of the important stats there. Alphabet reported financial results last night. Google's parent Alphabet recorded second quarter revenue of $96.43 billion, beating analyst estimates of $93.72 billion. And the company reported second quarter earnings of $2.31 per share, which beat the $2.16 estimate. Alphabet has now exceeded analyst expectations for the top and bottom lines in 10 straight quarters, according to Benzinga Pro, 10 straight quarters. Alphabet's earnings per share were up 22% year over year. Total revenue was up 14% year over year, driven by robust momentum across the businesses. Here's a breakdown of the revenue by category. Google search, $54.19 billion. That's up from $48.5 billion year over year. So the talk of Google search's demise greatly exaggerated, it would appear, as that still continues to print money. YouTube advertising, $9.8 billion. That's up from $8.66 billion year over year. Google Cloud, $13.6. That's up from $10.35. And Google advertising, $71.34. That's up from $64.62. Google just absolutely crushing it as per usual. Alphabet ended the second quarter with approximately $95.15 billion in cash and cash equivalents and marketable securities. We are leading at the frontier of AI and shipping at an incredible pace. AI is positively impacting every part of our business, driving strong momentum. Search delivered double-digit revenue growth, and our new feature like AI overviews and AI mode are performing well. That all comes from the CEO, Sundar Pichai. We continue to see strong performance in YouTube as well as subscription offerings and cloud, and strong growth in revenues, backlog, and profitability. That is the trifecta right there. Its annual revenue run rate is now more than $50 billion. Alphabet increased its capital expenditures outlook for 2025 to approximately $85 billion due to strong and growing demand for its cloud products and services. So they had their conference call. Google's higher here today. Really, does it finish higher here today? Let me know. What do you folks think about Google? Are you looking to trade this? Does this report help? Are you more inclined to trade it now that the report is out of the way? Did anyone try to trade this for earnings? If you did, I'd like to hear what your strategy was for that. Next stock that I want to talk about here that also reported earnings, IBM. All right, your legacy AI company here, they also reported earnings. They reported pretty good earnings. They're trading lower here today. It looks like they tried to trade down to that 100-day moving average. I've got that value at 260.75. Current price here in the pre-market down 5% is 267.5. So as far as key levels go, this one definitely standing out. This 260 level definitely standing out. Okay, and real quick, thank you, producer, for being on top of that. Sometimes I get lost in the sauce here. The one data print that we were waiting for, or the two data prints that we were waiting for. U.S. building permits for June, 1.393 million. That's versus the 1.397 million, so that's pretty much in line, although slightly weaker. U.S. initial jobless claims, 217,000 versus the 227,000 estimate. And U.S. continuing jobless claims, 1,955,000 versus the 1960,000 estimate. Look at the S&P futures. We pulled back a little bit off the high, although it's not breaking down here. S&P futures holding higher here by 0.05% on the back of that print. Thank you, producer, for getting that out there. Okay, we just took a look at IBM's chart. Let's take a look at the report. IBM reported quarterly earnings revenue of $2.80 per share. Sorry, I have to have a sip of my Irish breakfast tea. Just needed a little something there. Plus, it just smells so delicious. It was driving me crazy. Apologize. IBM reported quarterly earnings of $2.80 per share, which beat the street consensus estimate of $2.64 per share. Quarterly revenue came in at $16.977 billion, which beat the consensus estimate of $16.576 billion. Here are some of the highlights. Revenue of $17 billion, that's up 8% and 5% at constant currency. Software revenue up 10%, which is up 8% at constant currency. Consulting revenue up 3%, flat on constant currency, and infrastructure up 14%. That was up 11% at constant currency. So good metrics there. Gross profit margin, 60.1%. That's up 230 basis points. And pre-tax income margin, 18.8%. That's up 110 basis points. Special K here saying IBM should have been the king of AI. I completely agree. And I still think that IBM, because they're viewed as legacy tech, they don't quite get the full appreciation for what they mean for IBM. Remember Watson? That was like the first AI, right? And so your comment here about them being king, I agree. I feel like they had such a head start. They really should have executed on this. I think part of that was probably some of the innovation. That being said, because they're so deeply interwound into business and infrastructure, I actually think IBM can still make some headway here, but we'll see. Quote, we once again exceeded expectations for revenue, profit, and free cash flow in the quarter. IBM remains highly differentiated in the market because of our deep innovation and domain expertise, both crucial in helping clients deploy and scale AI. And this is kind of what I'm talking about with that infrastructure. They're still going to be relevant, despite being legacy tech and despite perhaps botching being the leader in AI. They're still going to be relevant, and it's still going to drive a lot of business here. Our generative AI book of business continues to accelerate and now stands at more than 7.5 billion. That comes from Arvind Krishna, the IBM CEO. The outlook here: with our strong first half performance, we are raising our full year outlook for free cash flow, which is expected to exceed 13.5 billion. That's IBM. Okay. Have I tried Scottish breakfast? No, but I'll look. The next time I order tea and I re-up on it, I'll look for that. I do really enjoy the Irish breakfast tea, though. Pretty good. All right. Speaking of AI, what time is it? 7:30. Oh, we got oceans of time. Damn, we got oceans of time. Okay, so speaking of AI here, Trump signs a new executive order to fast-track AI dominance. Quote, "We will be unstoppable as a nation," end quote. On Wednesday, President Trump signed a trio of executive orders aimed at accelerating U.S. dominance in artificial intelligence by streamlining data center construction, promoting American AI exports, and banning ideological-based AI from federal contracts. At an AI summit hosted by the Hill and Valley Forum and the All In podcast, Trump announced that the orders as part of his broader AI action plan. Quote, "Under this administration, our innovation will be unmatched and our capabilities will be unrivaled," end quote. Trump said at the event, "We will be unstoppable as a nation." One order directs the Council of Environmental Quality to fast-track permitting certain data centers by establishing new categorical exclusions for projects with minimal environmental impact. It also prioritizes permitting reviews for qualified AI infrastructure builds. Another executive order calls for the creation of American AI Exports Program to package and promote U.S. AI technology, including chips, models, and applications, to international partners. The third order bars federal agencies from using AI that are not truth-seeking or that promote ideological dogmas such as DEI. Trump says it ensures that government AI models maintain ideological neutrality. Earlier this year, the U.S. and the U.K. chose to not sign a global AI safety declaration at the AI Action Summit in Paris, diverging from their past support for similar agreements. While about 60 countries, including China, India, and Germany, backed the non-binding pledge for safe and secure and trustworthy AI, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance criticized the proposal as overtly cautious and potentially harmful to innovation. Previously, it was reported that the executive order are driven by Trump's tech advisors David Sachs and Shriram Krishnan, who aim to address perceived left-leaning bias in AI content, including political sensitivity outputs and portrayals of historical figures. Last year, Alphabet's Google Gemini model faced extreme backlash in creating racially diverse images portraying George Washington as Black. Elon Musk, who is currently at odds with President Trump, also frequently expressed distaste towards woke AI models. He once stated, quote, "If an AI is programmed to push for diversity at all costs, as Google's Gemini was, reverse that, then it will do whatever it can it will do whatever it can to cause that outcome, potentially even killing people." The tech mogul has also consistently described this AI venture, XAI's Grok, as a maximally truth-seeking AI, built to provide uncensored information. However, Grok has also been accused of having racially charged responses. I say all of that to say that the AI race is indeed in its infancy, and it is not going anywhere. And I would agree here with the administration that this is going to be some earth-shattering new thing. It is imperative that the United States win. It looks like some of the right steps here are being taken. Now, I talked a little bit earlier about small caps, okay? I gave you Scott Wren's quote there about small caps, maybe underperforming, kind of being weak here. Here's the other side of that. Here's 5 reasons why small caps could be Wall Street's next big comeback trade. And I'm hoping that Tim Melvin is out there somewhere just grinning from ear to ear because he loves this stuff. Valuations are low Tax laws have shifted and technical trends are turning. Wall Street is starting to reconsider the small cap space. The Russell 2000 index, as tracked by the IWM, has lagged large cap indices in 2025, but a potential shift may be just around the corner. In a note published Wednesday, LPL Financial's chief equity strategist, Jeff Bookbinder, laid out 5 catalysts that may favor small cap equities heading into late 2025. Small cap equities remain one of the most paradoxical asset classes, frequently dismissed, yet frequently cited as contrarian buying opportunities on attractive valuations, but often dissed by markets. Trump's tax overhaul may boost some of these profits. LPL highlights that under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, small business will, quote, once again be permitted to fully deduct domestic research and development expenses in the year they incurred, end quote. The deduction applies to software development and product innovation and, quote, should serve to significantly benefit smaller businesses and thus increase net profits. LPL adds that the increase in allowable deductions of interest costs and permanent 100% bonus depreciation could favor small firms more so than large caps. Number 2, the valuation gap between large caps and small caps keeps widening. According to LPL, the Russell 1000 trades at a price to book of 535, while the Russell 2000 trades at just 2.03. Quote, this growing disparity suggests that investors are paying more than twice as much for each dollar of book value in large cap stocks. The firm notes that while large cap premiums reflect investor confidence in earning stability, especially in AI-focused names, small cap equities become increasingly attractive on a relative basis. Number 3 here, the Russell 2000 has broken out technically. We spent a lot of time looking at these charts. This is why I didn't start with the chart, because Piero did a great job of including a chart, so I didn't have to do that. Shout out. However, since bottoming in April, the Russell 2000 has rallied nearly 30%, pushing the index out of a major inverse head and shoulders pattern. LPL estimates, quote, a minimal technical-based price objective near 2480, coinciding with the November 2024 highs. However, the firm said that the Russell 2000 versus the S&P 500 remains a multi-year downtrend, making it difficult to argue for such sustainable small cap outperformance without further confirmation. And this kind of highlights some of the frustration we have when trading some of these small cap names. Credit conditions, they're still favorable. Small caps rely heavily on debt to fuel growth. Fortunately, corporate credit spreads remain tight and base rates are stable. Small caps tend to be more sensitive to domestic economic cycles, meaning they could outperform if the U.S. economy remains resilient or accelerates. However, if the Fed is forced to cut rates due to a weakening economy, not falling inflation, those small caps could be at risk. So interesting dichotomy there. Number 5, a broader market rotation could help. And this is firmly where I stand here. According to LPL, a meaningful rotation in market leadership is underway, with non-U.S. small caps in sectors like basic materials and technology are outperforming. They also note that non-U.S. small cap stocks have emerged as key beneficiaries of recent U.S. tariff policy. That's funny. We didn't really hear a lot about that, right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, rib shot. A falling U.S. A falling U.S. dollar earlier in 2025 has enhanced the appeal of foreign assets, but a short-term dollar rebound, quote, could also put domestic small caps in a more favorable position. So I say all of that to give you both sides, number one, but also I really think it behooves us to keep an eye on some of these small cap stocks. It sure seems like there is going to be opportunity out there. And while it's not going to be as easy as maybe hitting one of these large cap tech moves where basically everything just melted up, there's going to be substantial gains in this sector. We just have to remain vigilant and choose the right stocks. That would be my takeaway from that. Okay. It is 8:43. God, I cannot believe I got through all of that news. I was like, man, I'm going to be reading forever here. We might not get through all of it, but we did it, folks. We did it. Couldn't have done it without you. We can go ahead and take a look at stocks until 13 gets here. He is probably doing some research right now. I saw a number of you were mentioning LIDAR. So maybe we should just start with that. That's ticker LIDR. I guess, AI here. What was going on with this? I see. So stock is about $1.15 yesterday, and it is up bigly here today. It's interesting. Let me try refreshing this. It looks like I'm not getting the right price quote there. Okay, so you guys, now here we go with the stocks. Here we go. Okay, LIDR, ALAB, OSRH, ON, UNH. It looks like you want to take a look at as well. Okay, let me go back to the chart here real quick. Where are you at, chart tool? Where are you at? Okay, let me actually take a screenshot of this because this ain't working. Just give me 1 sec. Sorry, I have to do this before I get too far away. Sorry for the dead air. Sorry for the dead air here. Okay, let's see. All right, let me just send that off. Perfect. Okay, so here's LiDAR. So again, the stock was about $1.15 yesterday. We're popping here today. We're actually taking the next leg up right now. AI shares are trading higher after the company announced its Apollo LiDAR has been integrated by NVIDIA to drive the AGX platform. We've seen this a lot with some of these PRs here that invoke NVIDIA, especially invoke NVIDIA on the AI front, lead to some pretty tremendous runs. So I don't know where LiDAR is going to go here today, but remember, NVIDIA related PR drove SoundHound from like 4 to 20. This stock has already moved from 115 to 340. Could there be more? Yeah, there probably could. So this one definitely going to be on watch here today. Let me see if we can get something off of the daily chart here. I'm probably not going to be able to. Yeah, we sure can. So, okay, couple of things here. Number one, we're going to start. I'm house sitting for my mom's cat. So I have 2 cats here and they're having a standoff right now. So that's kind of funny. Real quickly, let's go ahead and draw a trend line. Boop. So this right here, look where we stopped today, folks. Got to be a coincidence, right? I think not. Anyway, trading up here to this trend line, you can see what this stock has done before. Looking at these last 2 peaks here, or these last 2 bigger moves higher, I would expect to see one a little bit more pronounced like this. I think that the NVIDIA PR might give this a little bit more legs. So something to definitely keep in mind when trading this here today. If we take a look inside that $3 area, this definitely provided some type of resistance. Looks like we kind of traded around it. Now we're taking the next leg higher, and look, we went straight to that trend line. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Tom saying I'm in LiDAR at 150. Tom, I'm going to give you a 1-up because you haven't closed that trade. And as a reminder, you don't make money until you actually close the trade. Same is true with losing money. So be sure to get some of those gains booked at some point here today, but LiDAR making a huge move. Okay, someone put up the big Texas-shaped signal to call 13, and he has answered the call. 13, good morning. Yep, there it is. Good morning, 13. Happy Thursday. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you this morning, Ryan? How is everybody?
Dude, I'm doing great. I am so fired up. I just had really a great week. It's been extremely busy. The webinar last night was absolutely awesome. Shout out to everybody that attended and participated. Really, really good stuff. And we're going to have another interesting day here today. Market actually reversing here. I was a little bit strong here in the pre-market. We've now gone negative on the S&P post those jobless claims print. So I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Oh, I can't complain. It's been a pretty good morning. Let's look at some stocks.
We're looking at LiDAR right now.
All right, so this is another. I mean, are we going to call this an AI name? Is this because it has AI in the name, or is it not the right kind of AI?
Well, here's the thing. So they're trading higher because Apollo LiDAR has been integrated by NVIDIA to drive the AGX platform. So I got to think that this is going to have an AI tied to it. Am I wrong on that?
I don't think you are. I think
I don't think so either.
The AI is probably going to drive that platform.
Yeah. And what I, right before you got on, what I compared this to is like, remember when SoundHound had a PR that involved NVIDIA and using its products? That went from 4 to 20. This has already moved from 115 to 3. So I do think that there might be some more in this. But 13, I did what you do. I was started at the daily chart. I drew a trend line and bang, the stock went right to the trend line. So a lot of this is being clearly driven by technical spots, and we're going to have to factor that in our trading here today.
Now, did NVIDIA? I didn't see that they did, but maybe you know. Do you know if NVIDIA bought their shares? Because I thought that was the angle that SoundHound had. Is that NVIDIA?
No, it didn't. They now fully integrated into NVIDIA's autonomous driving platform. So they're working with them, but no, NVIDIA didn't buy any shares.
Okay,
that's actually a really key mention there on the difference.
And they've got 18 million in the float. Earnings next Thursday. Looks like they have a little less than a quarter of cash, but short-term investments should be able to cover any cash needs they have. Other than that, I think you pretty much got the levels there with the
really quick. Let me correct something here, Tom. Yeah, if I said this, I'm sorry. It's probably because it's very early and I'm jacked up on coffee. It's not a partnership. Okay, they're integrated into NVIDIA. It's going to be related to NVIDIA's driving platform here. The reason that this is important is because the company here is saying that there's tremendous growth prospects ahead of it now because of that. So sorry if I was confusing there. You're correct, Tom.
Well, I don't know how much more I've got to add on the fundamental side, but let's see. I'm not sure I drew the trend line the same as you did. Let me just adjust that. So we're kind of up in that area where that trend line is. Okay, so I see what you're talking about. We break that, then I'd be looking at the previous highs we were making up in this area. So that would be from the 7th of January, which that high was 430. And after that, you pretty much have the one that we started at with the trend line, which is May 28th of last year at 515. So there you go, 430 and 515. A couple of outside targets there for you in LiDAR or AI, I mean.
Okay. So, all right. So there's LiDAR. I think this is going to be on deck here today. We're probably going to be checking on a lot of this. I did hear producers letting me know that we have UNH and DOJ news here. Oh my, United Health shares are trading lower after the company disclosed it had reached out to the DOJ after reports of the investigations into certain aspects of its participation in the Medicare program. The company said it has now begun complying with formal criminal and civil requests from the DOJ. Stock here is down. You can see the move that we're making here today. I think I got some incorrect pricing going on here. This is down almost 5%, or 5% at the lows. And you're absolutely right. This is looking at a bear pennant now. So I hope that we protected people, because I know there was a lot of talk about maybe bottom fishing UNH here. And while we did get a good bounce on this, the bottom just clearly wasn't in. And it looks like we're going to probe a little bit lower here. So down 5% here this morning.
Still looking at 250 for me. I think that's the area where we're going to come down to again. We were just there back in May. Wouldn't be surprised if we visited again.
Okay. Okay, I've got 248-ish as that low.
Yeah.
Down there on UNH. Okay, good mention there, producer. Appreciate you. Bonjour, Smoked Tuna. Hi, Chris, Marius, Tom, Dan, Lion, anyone that I missed. Good morning, Benzi Gangsta. That's good stuff. Okay. You want to just hit the movers now? What do we got here?
We've been hitting it already. LiDAR is number one.
That's true. We kind of did start.
With the 90% tuna AI signal, or tuna signal AI.
Okay.
So there we go.
Okay, sweet. 248.88 is that low. Thank you, EKS.
Excellent.
Okay. Next here on the movers list is going to be ticker MXL. This is Max Linear. This stock was about $15.50 yesterday, and we traded above 20 here in the pre-market, almost as high as 22. Max Linear shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 sales results and issued Q3 sales guidance with its midpoint above estimates. So pretty good earnings here. Popped in the after hours yesterday, held into the pre-market here today. Actually tried to make another run higher, and despite profit taking, didn't even break down yet. So let's see what happens when the market opens here. As long as there's not just an overwhelming cascade of sellers here, I think that this actually might try for higher again. Unsure on how high it will go. Let's take a quick look at some of the short interest here. 9.39% of the float shorted. That's on 4.99 days to cover. So although we're not above 20% here, still some pretty significant short interest that could cause this to be squeezy a little bit. We have the average volume of 1.16 million. We've already traded over 2 million here today. Stock's got a float of 57 million. So what do you think here on ticker MXL 13?
This one I was looking into as I came on, because I realized I was running out of time. But this one just recently having their earnings. That's one of the things that I saw that it was running on. I looked at their cash position. It seems like they've got a good amount of it, even though they do lose about 50 or so million a quarter. So based on that cash burn, they've got at least 2 quarters of cash left that they can work through before they'd have to do another capital raise. Float reading, I think you mentioned at 57 million. The thing about this one, and maybe you can go to a weekly chart so we can see this, because this has been really just on the decline ever since it hit the start of 2022. And it has not recovered yet, but I think it might be, because if you look back far enough to 2020, you can see that it looks like we have double bottomed. So I think what we could be seeing here, maybe this goes on for just longer than just the trade today, but we might be seeing a reversal in the company here. We just need to get some more confirmation of the bottom. Now on a weekly chart, another thing that's interesting is that we're approaching the 200-week SMA. And this is on my broker, so you might not have it on there, but that value's at about 23.15. So that would be one of my next upside targets for where the stock would run to this morning. And if you look at about that area, that $23 area, that's about where every last rally last move up we've had since 2024, beginning of 2024, has kind of topped out at is around that 23.15 area, all the way up to about 26. Think about that. So in that area, about $25, you have a lot of resistance at. So after that 200-week SMA, I'd be looking at that area, that $25 area, for the next side of rejection, since that's what's been happening since late 2023.
Okay. Excellent stuff there. Excellent charting there. MXL. There you go on some upside targets. Big move here post earnings. So pretty quality catalyst there as well. Okay. Next here is going to be CYCC. And it looks like this just popped on the movers list here. We've traded this one a whole bunch in the past. Stock was about $14 yesterday. Oh my goodness. We went up to 34 here in the pre-market before retracing 80+% of that move right back down here to 1788. Let's see what's going on here. We have a piece of news on this. I don't see. Okay, so we did have some Form S here this morning.
Yep.
What's going on with it? Did you look into this one yet?
I didn't have time to get through all of that, but it looks like it's a pretty substantial offering.
Yep.
And that makes sense, because if you look at the float, it's like, okay, well, they're just going through all those motions of recompliance. I'm sure that this was one of those NASDAQ recompliance targets. They just did that 1-for-15 reverse split earlier this month. Here comes the offering. At least that's what we're seeing with the filing.
Yep.
I don't know exactly what the move up was for, but it certainly seems like somebody's trapping a bunch of people with that move. I think we just need to be careful with this, and this could continue to leak into the open here. Let me go back to a smaller time frame so I can get an idea of where this might start to turn around. It may begin to try and find a bottom around 17.25. That's just above the 65 EMA. So that's where I'd be looking at. If it doesn't do it there, then I would think about 15. Otherwise, depending on when that offering drops, it could go lower. But just be careful. I don't think this thing is done going down yet. We just need to find, it needs to find some footing and start to turn around before I think there's a trade here.
Okay. I think you're probably right on that. CYCC, let's wait for it to bottom and confirm that bottom. Here, I promised Ruston that we'd go to OSRH here today. Here is a look at OSRH. This did something very, very similar to CYCC. It's traded up bigly to 144 and retraced the entire move. So I would be very, very careful here on this. Take a quick look at the news on this one. We did have a PR here from this morning. OSR Holdings enters into a term sheet to acquire Wuri.io, a pioneer in non-invasive glucose monitoring technology. Okay, first thing that I would want to know here, what do they look like? What do the financials look like? Man, they don't really have a lot of cash. How are they acquiring this? I guess that would be my first question. Quick look around the horn here on some of the short interest stuff. 2.97% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. On average, this stock is a ghost town, which is why I rib Rustam about talking about it when nothing is happening. 142,000 shares on average. Today, this session volume can't be right. No, this absolutely cannot be right. Yeah, we are. Sorry, I don't have a correct reading here, but this is up over multi-millions. This is way, way, way above its 100-day average.
Yeah, and they're also one of those companies that is doing some kind of, I don't know if it's a treasury, but it says that there's a they announced an official roadmap for a targeted 50 million security token offering planned for launch in the second half of this year. So I don't know if that makes it one of these crypto names or not, or one of those crypto treasuries. But they also just had a filing for an offering that they did in May. I don't know. Be careful with this thing. This could be a real piece of junk. And it's weird that it did the exact same thing that CYCC did, and they're both biotechs. So maybe if you find another biotech, let me know. We'll see if it did the same thing as these two. Maybe there's a theme with the biotechs today. Pop and then trap everybody.
Okay. I would issue the same warning that we talked about earlier here. I would really wait for this to kind of confirm a move up. I don't think there's any reason to kind of try and front run any of this. Confirm that we're going to have a move here. We've already seen what kind of nastiness it can do. So don't put yourself in a position where you're likely to get hurt. Okay, next one on the list I have here is CIO. Oh, this actually looks like this might be a acquisition. Yep, $7 per share, and it's currently at $5.74 per share. So that difference there, yeah.
They also had I think it's preferred shares, and you tell me if this was a Tim Melvin one, but it's CIO PA. It's the same rate, but I think that's preferred shares. Was this a Tim Melvin one?
I don't remember offhand. I'm sorry. I would have to ask him.
Anyway, just thought I'd wonder, because every time that I see anything that has like the like a preferreds or like extra symbols, and it's like I always go back to some of the stocks that he's named.
I don't know that this is a Tim Melvin one.
But anyway, there's the preferreds. It's what you said it was. Anyway, next.
Next here is LIMN. This is Limitas Pharma. So more biotechs here. This popped as high as $10, and although it's retraced the majority of its move, it does have a catalyst here. Limitas Pharma enters into an engagement agreement with Digital Offering to serve as an exclusive placement agent in connection with evaluation of potential strategic capital raise.
It did the same thing, didn't it? About the same time, and all those other those other biotechs we just looked at, they had this pop. Now this one didn't kind of hung out a little bit, but it still ended up coming down. Am I crazy or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't go through this at all, man. So I'm trying to read through this here.
I was just talking about the chart. It just looks like the same
price
action.
Sorry, man.
That's okay.
Yeah, all of these look similar, right? We're seeing these really exaggerated pops and pullbacks here, and I think it's probably a good idea to maybe kind of wait out some of that.
Yeah, and this is another one for a blockchain integrated treasury, LIMN. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't feel great about any of these, to be honest with you, so far.
Yeah, that's. I think that's normal. I don't feel great about
honestly,
it either.
Like we're going through this here, and I keep thinking to myself, boy, oh boy, it might make more sense to trade some of these bigger names, maybe something like a Google, or maybe we get a bounce back in something like an IBM or a Tesla or something here today. I don't know. These all feel a little shady.
LIDR might be the better one to trade today. So we'll see I mean, it's still going. It is still going. But now when it comes to this one, if this keeps going into the open, I think I also want to wait for that to, shake out the sellers, and then we can find an entry. But this thing is still ripping. Who is it? Tom, you said that had this at 150. He's almost $3 into this now.
I don't know. I don't. Did I talk about this one? IXHL and someone's.
No,
I'm sorry, man. I'm struggling to follow.
LIDR.
Oh,
I was saying that I think LIDR might be the better one to trade today.
Yeah. Yes. And this was Tom. Yes. He had this earlier here. Gosh, I'm sorry, man.
450. It's okay. Have more coffee.
Seriously, I probably need to go do something like that.
I'm kidding.
It's been a long couple of days, dude. I feel like I haven't even had more than an hour break. So I'm running low on energy here. I apologize if I'm not as sharp as I normally am.
It's okay. Life still cuts.
It's also really good at spreading butter on a bread. Okay. UAVS here. This is also on the list. There were several of you talking about this drone name here earlier. This trading higher in the after hours yesterday and higher here today in the pre-market. If I take a look at this, we did have this PR here today. This looks like this is going to hit a bunch of those drone companies. Global military drone market size on a trajectory towards 88 billion as demand skyrockets. None of this is kind of like a general PR that attaches itself to a lot of drone companies. I'm going to pick a fight with my news desk team that didn't add Ondas here. What are you doing? But anyway, this we all kind of knew about, right? We had Hegseth talking about fast tracking drones. This is still a theme that's in its infancy or its early days. I'm expecting more of this. This PR just kind of confirms it.
They didn't seem like they put an ARCAD in there either. A lot of the drone names are in there. Right?
Like I said, we'll have to pick a fight.
Oh.
Good morning, Jay. Good to see you. Good morning, anyone else that I may have missed.
Good morning, everybody.
Okay, I think that's probably it here for the movers. This has been really kind of crappy, frankly, the movers list here today. Honorable mention here to Open. Open is a little bit higher. I know this has been kind of a trader recently. It's really on the backside of its move, so I'd be careful, but maybe it did kind of bottom here. So it is trading a little bit higher. I'm not going to trade this here today, but just kind of an honorable mention. Okay, we can go to the big chart here. We can take a look at any stocks that you folks want. Let me know. Yeah, Zach, let's take a look at that here real quick. Ondas. So Ondas does have some news here. First of all, there's no way to get around it. Really kind of poor trading action recently on Ondas, right? We really wanted to see this move keep going. It kind of rolled over. Good news here. It did a really good job holding the 20-day simple moving average and the 21-day EMA. So maybe we can bounce from here. Maybe. The news on this here today, Ondas Networks completes first build-out of its 802.16 technology to power the latest Class 1 railroad migration, to the new 900 megahertz network in Chicago. So I know we talk a lot about Ondas being a drone theme. Ondas is actually American Robotics is the company that does the drone. Ondas has another division here where they do rail communications services, and they're actually pretty good at that. That's what this PR is about. So the first thing that I would say here is, with drones really kind of being the more hot theme, I don't know what kind of impact this news is going to have. Furthermore, we've seen with some of this, with some of the news that Ondas puts out here, while there might be a really good positive reaction initially, it sometimes kind of reverses and then ends up going lower in some cases. Again, this news here about the rail division, the rail communications division, not the drones. So really kind of unsure how long or what kind of move this is going to make for Ondas.
Two things. Number one, CYCC is starting to get a lift here. It's a pretty illiquid lift, but it's getting when it's making its way towards VWAP. Number two, back to Ondas. Do you have a line out at 250, like a horizontal line?
I do not, but that's an easy ad. Let's do it.
That 250 area, going all the way back to the end of 2022, that was previously a support area. And then when we lost it in 22, it wasn't until 2 years later that it finally was able to get back above it, and it couldn't stay above it, using it as support while it was above that price. So this return to an inability to recapture 250, I don't think that's necessarily that bad for Ondas. I think this is something you would expect to see on this first visit up since basically since the year started. I think you're going to see some heavy selling, some heavy resistance for all the people that are still trapped in there. But I don't believe it's going to, reverse the stock and take it back down to under $1. I think it's just going to take a little bit more volume. You got to, chew through these bag holders, and then this will trade better. I think the next visit up to 250, that's where it's going to be worth watching. I think you could end up getting a close above it, and if you do, then we're in business. That's what I would be looking at with ONDS, is a recapture of 250. You need to see some closes above that.
Okay, and frankly, the fact that it held the 21 EMA and the 20 SMA is pretty positive. Yes. This might set up for that second test. Okay, good stuff.
Look even further back with that line.
No, I did. It's right. That goes back to here. That's the support level that broke. It got retested and then it went lower. So let's get back above that. That'd be awesome. That would maybe we really can kind of turn this around. Oh, and look at this 13. Now, whatever changes the team has been making to the charts, starting to get more candle data. Yippee-ki-yay.
There you go.
Really good stuff there. So we'll see how that pans out. All right. Good morning, Markets and Mayhem. We look forward to you joining post the open here. Appreciate you again for taking time out of your day to share it with our community. Really awesome stuff. All right. What else do you folks want to take a look at? What other stocks do you have anything on deck here that you want to take a look at? 13. Do you want to take a look? Let's do Chipotle. They reported earnings.
Sure.
And they're getting absolutely smoked. Chipotle down over 12% here today. Here's the big thing. We're going to start with the daily chart here. This area right down here from the Liberation Day lows down here about 45. What is this? 45, 44, 45. This area, very, very clear. This is going to be important here today. If we break down through this, I got to think your next area is going to be one in here at about 41.5. And then maybe after that, 36. Chipotle, man, way down by the burrito. And this, I'll tell you what, don't point fingers. Really? Don't point fingers at me, because I still do my part with Chipotle. I love this place. I love Chipotle, and I go there all the time. So don't blame me, but man, oh man, rough earnings report for this one.
And if you draw a trend line from the low of if you draw it from the end carry trade to the Liberation Day unwind, that may indicate where this next support could come from, and that's going to be at about 43.
So we're looking. You're saying a trend line on the bottom side here from this low through this low, gives us a target here at about 43. Spot on.
So I think that would be, if we're going to continue lower, that would be the first area I'd be looking at for some support. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I don't want to say, oh yeah, this is where it's definitely going to bounce. It might not. But when I look at 43 and I look to the left, I can see that this is an area that's got some pretty good, like it's all this consolidation, the top of the consolidation from 2023 in May and June. That's all comes down to about 43. So I kind of like that area for some support, but we still could see enough selling to where we fall through this trend line. But I think I would have my sights set on 43, at least a bounce.
Okay, we'll see if we get that here in Chipotle. I might have to do that for dinner today just to support the team. All right, let's see what else we got in here.
I think somebody had mentioned Bank of America. We also had Wolf and and Lion Alice was saying Google was trying to pass 200.
Yeah, so Lion, you really need to set your alarm a little bit earlier, because you keep missing the shout outs that I give you, and then I have to do it again. And frankly, I'm tired of having to do it more than once. So you need to be here earlier. Really good call there from Lion. He had said prior to the earnings report that Google was going to make a run at 200, and it actually looks like it's doing it here. We highlighted Google before you got on. The one caveat, so there's two things here really quick that I think we need to be thinking about. Number one, I might have prematurely gotten rid of the inverse head and shoulders potential formation, because if Google somehow reverses hard today, gives us a bearish candle and starts moving lower, it actually is going to look like a potential head and shoulders on the daily chart. However, this did beat, and it is trading higher, and it is actually currently trying to break the high end of the secondary move yesterday. So the initial, or the tertiary move, frankly, the initial move from Google was up. That very, very quickly got sold, moved down to 186, and then reversed again. That's when it went to the real highs of the after hours, and it's testing that again here today. As mentioned earlier, the options implied a 5 and change % move. We only got what? 3.5% here today. So we're still under that. That. We'll see if that changes. If it does, if it goes to that implied move or even more, we're trading above 200 here today. So just keep that on the back burner.
If there's any selling happening today, I'd want to see 190 hold. That's what
that's basically yesterday's low, intraday low. So
yeah.
Okay.
I want to see that hold up.
There you go on Google.
CYCC might be getting ready to take the next leg up towards VWAP. A little light on the volume, but it's got the formation to where it's trying to get through. Looks like 2050.
Okay, really quickly here. Gonna pick a fight with day trader real quick. I've never had Chipotle. I eat real Mexican food. The benefit of being in California. Okay, so first of all, I will address the first part here. I also eat real Mexican food. There is an extremely high contingent of Mexican heritage people here in Chicago, and I will put the Chicago Mexican food up to the California Mexican food. We'll do that Pepsi challenge any day of the week.
You might lose that.
Who might?
You might.
Okay. When's the last time you had Mexican food in Chicago? Thought so. I'm just telling you. I've been to both places.
No, go ahead.
I've been to both places. I know the proximity to the California proximity to Mexico. I know. I get it. I'm just saying.
Have you been to Mexico?
Don't sell. Yes. So don't sell it short. Don't sell it short. What I will say here about Chipotle is that one of the reasons that it is so successful is because it's kind of like a Americanized version. If I recall, like true authentic Mexican tacos and burritos don't have rice in them, right? Someone help me with that. I don't want to assume. Someone help me with that. But I'm pretty sure that like a traditional, actual authentic Mexican burrito doesn't have rice in it. And obviously that's a huge thing here at Chipotle. I would say that they're a little bit different, but the fight that I wanted to pick here, they're both good. They are both good. Here we go. I lived in Mexico. Chipotle is amazing. It's generic but tasty. And Aura Alpha, bingo. It is generic because it's trying to hit such a wide range of Americans, being an American company, but it's still delicious.
And it's funny that no matter how hard you try, you still find a way to talk about food.
Oh, you missed it. No, you missed it. In fact, what I would ask kindly, 13, is that when you're off here today, when you have a free 30 seconds, go back and play the replay. You only need to get 20 seconds in, and you will appreciate exactly what took place. Right. So don't worry about the food. There's a new record that was set here today, and it cannot be broken. Anyway, okay. We don't need to fight over which one is better here, although that's kind of fun. Let me go back to the Chipotle chart. I don't know how I ended up on Google here. But anyway, we'll see if Chipotle can get rolling here. Okay, so they do have. So you guys are saying so authentic Mexican burrito does have rice in it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I love our chat. I love our community so much. It's literally one of the best parts of my day. Okay, what stocks do you want to do next? I
don't think we looked at Bank of America yet. It was one of the ones that people requested. Bank of America, BAC. And I think Wolf also with an O.
Here's BAC. We took a look at Wolf. Is that doing anything else? We'll get to that. We'll do that next year. Here's BAC. What do you got on this, 13?
Well, this is just one of the ones that we were getting asked about. To me, it looks like it's back over a long-term trend line that I drew from February of 22 through the highs of February of this year, and it's getting back above that trend line. We also just had a recent bounce off of the 50-day SMA and a recapture of the 20-day SMA. So that's looking pretty good. And I think the next thing I'd want to see is, did we end up filling this gap? Not quite. So there's a gap from July 7th to 8th that we started filling earlier this week. And it doesn't look like we've quite filled it yet. So I think that would be the one thing that I would want to see happen pretty soon, is that gap fill. Once that happens, it might back off a little bit, but I think we might get some support from these previous levels, like around 48, maybe even the trend line I just mentioned. But it clearly indicates to me up here from this price action in early July that 49 is an area where the sellers are at. So I think that those are the two things I'd be looking at: gap fill, and then the sellers at $49.
Okay, good stuff there. We'll see if this thing can actually get above that, maybe print 50. Highs back from double top back here from 2022. Yeah, that's right at 50. I got to think that's going to be a extreme resistance level.
And that could be the reason why there were so many sellers at 49. If you look back in January of 22 in February, there's not a lot of price action beyond 49. I think you said it goes up to just be a little bit above 50. All those sellers in there probably were trying to make an exit at 49.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
Just keep that in mind. Once we get back up there, we might see those sellers return.
All right. Laura in Florida says we need a Dave Portnoy of tacos. This is such a good idea. Laura in Florida, let me see if I can. I don't know if I don't think I'm as funny as him personally. But this is a really good idea, and maybe I'll take you up on that. After all, being in the Chicagoland area, I've got such good Mexican food options. I could make a ton of content on that. Okay, I kid. Let's take a look at Wolf here before the chat starts to get upset with me. This was one that we took a look at yesterday. I'm actually going to go intraday here because to me, this is a little bit more important. We had that huge move up here on Wolf. We retested that again in the pre-market. It sure looks like now we're trying to break above it. 13, what do you think? This has got to be a key level, right? This 205 intraday high from yesterday?
Let me take a look at the chart here. Are we looking at a daily chart or which one? What kind of time frame are you looking at here?
Well, I had a 15-minute chart. I was basically just trying to look intraday because the key thing that I'm looking at here, we had a level carved out by the intraday move yesterday that happened on volume. Today, it looks like we've actually taken that out. My question going forward is, do we move higher from here, or is this actually a resistance area that maybe sends us a little bit lower?
There's an EMA on the daily chart that's looks like it was in the way of upside yesterday. That's the 65. I have that at about 212. That's one area I'd be keeping an eye on. It also coincides with this bottoming action that was happening in April before it went up to test the 65 EMA again, where it was rejected. So that's about where we're at right now. Maybe you can see it if you look at a daily chart. Back in April, we're about where this bottoming action was. So if you look at where you got to zoom in a little bit, but if you look at where April was, yeah, right there. See how your price is indicator is like butting up
right against that bottom. Sure do.
That's the area we need to get back above. So I think that you're going to see a lot, and it looks like that's already had a bunch of sellers make an exit when we were back up here at the 65 EMA earlier this month. So perhaps this time we get a little bit higher up, and we were filling that gap too, earlier this month as well. So that's out of the way. Those are the two things I need to see get taken out. That the bottoming here, which is about 205, and take out that 65 EMA. That would take us to about 250. Where that's another resistance area, a support resistance area. Then after that, 325 is the next one I see.
Okay, good stuff there. There are your levels on Wolf. Really appreciate this comment. Sean here. I love when I tune in late because busy reading stuff and the topic is rice burritos and Dave Portnoy. Always good in the stock world. Sean, that is gave me the most chuckles of any other comment here this morning. You guys, tell you what, chat really brought their A game here today. Top to bottom, chat brought their A game, and I am here for it. Chipotle, by the way, bouncing off that 45.50 level here in the pre-market. We'll see if that can hold. Okay, what else do we have on the list of stocks that we wanted to take a look at?
Well, Jay needed some clarification because he was bringing up another ticker, and he asked about who's AEO, American Eagle Outfitters, I believe is
Yep.
what that is.
Oh, here we go. I was just waiting for someone else to bring this one up.
And he was wanting to know who Sydney Sweeney is. So who wants to tell him?
What is the best way to answer this? What's the best way to answer this?
She's gifted.
She's gifted. That's one way to answer it. Jay, what I would say is if you want to learn who Sydney Sweeney is, I would look up her Instagram profile. That's probably going to go several thousand words more than I could to describe it.
He's all the Insta what? No, I'm just kidding.
If it's Insta what, then get out your Google machine and start punching them keys. But yeah, so first of all here, I guess we can seriously take a look at this real quick. The news here from today: Sydney Sweeney sends American Eagle stock soaring during after-hours trading. Meme stock buzz. So Sydney Sweeney for Palantir merch. Exec says, "Hear me out." After American Eagle stock soars 22%. I mean, I can't help but laugh. I saw the ad myself for the denim. Anyway, here we go. AEO. This is actually coming up off the bottom. Boy, the jokes just write themselves. This is unbelievable. This stock seems to be coming up off the bottom. We're above the 50, we're above the 100, and we're about midway to the 200 here. I do have that 200 moving average there at 1421, and we'll ask Mayhem when he joins us here. But taking a look at this, we're actually about to test the top end of this high volume node range. And so part of me would wonder then if we really are going to trade above this 200 to try and get to that next pocket of high volume nodes.
14,
we'll see.
14 has been a level going back to 2008. Put a horizontal line at 14 and go to a daily or a weekly or whatever chart you want. Just look at how much support, how much that level has been support and resistance. You have to really zoom out, but you could look at a
look at all this. Look at all these price history candles.
A weekly chart even it shows it even better. I mean, $14. That's the level I'd be looking at. That's the level I'd be watching.
Yo, $10 too, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, so, we're above $10, but yeah, absolutely. $10 seems like if you get this to go down to $10, that's where you buy.
Yeah, sure does. And I almost wonder now if with some of the news, if this can hold above and maybe carve out a new range here. Nonetheless, looks like this is going to try and trade higher here. I definitely have that 14 to 1430 in range for a potential area to close above. We'll see. Everybody who knows Sydney Sweeney, is she going to be able to take this up to the all-time highs again, where we were around 38.5? We'll see. I mean, that would be something. That would be something. ET3 here says Benzinga grab some water. Chad is getting thirsty. Oh my God, that is so funny. I told you guys, you guys and gals, the entire chat here today literally brought their A game. The market hasn't even opened yet, and we out popping off here. I just love this. This. This is what we do.
Smoke Tuna, that's a great mention. She should have. That should be her next promo to go to Krispy Kreme.
Oh my God! Okay, guys, we got to get this back on track. 13. We got to get this back on track. What is the next stop that we want to take a look at? Jay, Smoke Tuna, you guys just throw gas on the fire. I love it.
Smoke Tuna is mentioning that MVIS is setting up. That's Microvision, I believe. Andre had also mentioned American Airlines. I think they got hit pretty hard.
They reported earnings here this morning. Yeah. I'm going to go to my main workspace so I can be ready to go.
Okay. Yeah, we got less than 3 minutes. Looks like actually 2 minutes now. So yeah, American Airlines, they guided lower. I guess they didn't. Demand isn't really great just for this particular airline. I don't think it's the same situation with others, but this isn't like the best in breed airlines.
No, it isn't.
The better ones you have are like United, Delta, and Alaska Airlines. Those are all the better ones. So isn't surprising to me that this is being the less preferred brand. The sales are sluggish, but here we are with this trading lower, losing almost 7% in the pre-market here. It looks like the last area of support that it has is down around 870. But we are not down that far yet. looks like $10 might be the first area of support that they'll get if it comes down that far.
Okay. The key takeaway from this report, we're going to have to wait and see if this ends up holding to be true. Here's the key line. Our news desk team, shout out to the Benzinga news desk team. They've been getting even better at picking out the really key things here, and I think they absolutely nailed it on American Airlines. American Airlines CFO reportedly says he expects deliveries of 50 new aircrafts this year. Capacity is up 5% during the peak in July. Growth slowed down to 2% in August and down 1% in September. He says the worst has passed and year-over-year revenue will sequentially improve monthly this quarter. So the reason that this is important is because if you're looking to swing this, or if you're seriously interested in any of the airlines, you want to buy when it's depressed. The stock is down 11%. The stock is down 7% here to an 11 handle. And if you believe the CFO that the worst is behind them and things are going to perk up here and start to move in the correct direction, this is the buy spot. Now, as far as the chart goes, did you have any really key support level? Oh, we're open. We're open. Let me just take a look and see if I can eyeball that here real quick.
All right. While you do that, I'll just
yeah. So here, this was it. The 11.5 range. This was a previous consolidation area that we busted away from. We have actually set a series of higher lows since the Liberation Day low. I don't think this report is indicative of us going back down to those lows. So I would kind of look for this to hold 11 here today.
All right. So right now we have LiDAR. It started selling out of the gate there, but it's trying to go positive here. Looking for another test of that 457 high in the pre-market. Got to get through this I think it's 425 is this area we're trying to chew through. We just took it out. We're going higher, folks. And
here we go, Armando. You're right about that.
Tesla slumping, says Claw United. Might halt. It could very well. And you know what? I think we're about to see that.
Yep.
Jay Walker. We're about to see that right now with LiDAR.
Good to see you again, Jay Walker.
Absolutely. And
NASDAQ
halted.
Turning up here. Actually, S&P 500 turning up too. Dow is the only thing under pressure.
All right. With that halted, let's look at these other names like CYCC, MXL, some of the other names we were looking at this morning. CYCC, man, this thing has a spread on it that's quite large. At times, it looks like it's as much as $1, 50 cents to $1. Be very careful with CYCC. Remember, they do have that offering out there that was filed today.
Seeing a lot of Tesla puts get bought into this move down.
NXL down to the 65 EMA again, currently getting support, but I don't know that I would trust this for a bounce yet.
Tesla, next level that might catch this here is 300. We'll watch the round number. By the way, Chipotle rolled over. That printed new lows as well.
Let me see if I can get some idea of where Tesla's going to go. I do like 300. That's certainly a psych level and a level I've got marked off here. So if we hit that and got some support, it wouldn't surprise me.
UNH here, this is bouncing back after that Department of Justice headline that we got earlier that really kind of sank this thing.
Yeah, so if we get a reversal at 300, then I have 309, 310 is the next resistance area, kind of the area where we opened and backed out of. But if we continue lower through 300, I like 290. I have a level at 297. I'm not sure that's going to be the reversal area. 290 looks a lot better to me, so I would put a level out there as a potential reversal spot.
Okay, LiDAR here halted to the upside.
Yep, halted. Jay Walker called that. That was great. CYCC not doing a whole lot right now, trying to go higher, but getting rejected. Still above the 65 EMA. MXL, that also getting some support from its 65 EMA, but at that EMA nonetheless. What other ones were we looking at here? There was another one that started with an I. Can you tell me what that was?
Yeah, it was IXHL, I believe.
Incanix Healthcare. Yep. Okay. So this one looking better. This one bounced off its 200 EMA, recaptured its VWAP, and now it's trying to capture its 65. So that's looking pretty good. Now, if this does end up getting back above the 65 EMA, that's a big if, because it looks like we have a type of triple top or maybe even a head and shoulders in the pre-market here. The area that's I think is going to have a hard time getting above and closing above is going to be 140. And I think the price action from the pre-market here is indicative of that level. There's Tom saying they're supposed to report in the month of July about their trials. See if I can find if there's any news on that. And looking at their daily chart, by the way, it's nice that they're above their 200-day SMA, but this has been on some kind of a run, since for the last half of this month, since the 15th, and we are very extended here.
Google pulling back here. I actually am seeing some calls get bought into this move. Ryan here, 2 trades on Google already. Okay, really good stuff on that. Michelle saying, hey, Ryan, I remember you had a guest that talked about trading options. When on this channel, do you talk about options trading so I can sign in? I mean, I'm sorry, Michelle. I don't know what you're trying to get at there. We talk about options every single day. A lot of the guests that we bring on here trade options as well. I'm not sure what you're referring to. I'm happy to answer your question, but I think I'm going to need some more information. And then someone else earlier had asked really quick. Let me see if we get that Sydney Sweeney conversation really kind of sidetracked. There was someone in here. Hi, where are you? I think it was Gabriella. Someone was asking for for the link to the webinar last night. I don't know. I can't find the comment there. Let me go ahead and give that to you. Yes, there is a replay. I'll get that for you. Hang on one sec.
We might get an unhalt of LiDAR pretty soon here. Also, Market Mayhem, who is going to be joining us soon, he does use a lot of options data.
Yeah, and he trades options too. That dude is sharp. Sharp. So I caught myself talking to him. He's so sharp.
It could be him you're referring to. It could be Anne Marie. It could be. I don't think Sandy's been on here with us, but she does. She did an option. Does an option show as well. So
right after on Friday.
Yeah. So it could be any one of those. Wolf is really getting hammered now. Lost at 65 EMA, making its way down to the 200 EMA. IXHL, this is making its way through the 65 EMA, coming up to that 140 area.
Okay. Give me 1 sec, 13. I'm going to leave IXHL up, but I need to step away for just one moment. BRB.
No problem. Also getting a mention here from Smoke Tuna. DNN, that's Danny Nancy is setting up. So DNN, this is Denison Mines. Looks like we just had a pop up here to above all the pre-market levels. 220 is the high now. Yesterday, this went up to 224. So I would be looking at that spot next. What else do you got? LiDAR opened down. Thank you for that. So we unhalted and dropped, and trying to get some support from the $4 area. We'll see if that holds up. No worries. AMD up with volume $2 so far. We're getting a little bounce in tech today, a little rebound. Honeywell is getting a mention here by EKS, 6.1% post earnings. I believe it's post earnings, right? They reported. Let me see here. Yes, they did. Oh, down post earnings. I'm sorry. I didn't. I thought you were talking about it being positive. So down post earnings, 6.1%. Let's see what they said there. Looks like they didn't. It might be the guidance. I'm not gonna go over this while we're trading here, but it might have been how they guided. We'll look into that a little bit later when Ryan gets back. Watch CLS says Kevin. Alrod says BE Blumenfellows. That's Bloom Energy. This is the fuel cell play, isn't it?
Which one?
I believe it is. Bloom Energy.
Yeah, BE. No, yeah, actually, I believe that is here. I actually was just looking at that, but I got sidetracked.
And this is another short squeeze candidate. We have 33% of the float shorted, 9.4 days to cover. So we are squeezing because it is a season.
All right. Love it. Love it. Some of you were mentioning OKLO.
Yeah, and there was also a mention of Honeywell being down 6%. And I was trying to look and see if I could find the reason, but
They reported earnings, didn't they?
It's earnings, but I was trying to, in the earnings. What the reason
in the
was.
earnings report. Gotcha. My bad.
No worries. So Bloom Energy, this is making, is this new all-time highs, or is it just highs from a long time ago? It's highs from a long time ago. 2021 highs is what we're hitting now. November to be specific. And this thing tends to have some topping out on a weekly basis around 36 to 36, 37. It's not the highs. The highs is 44.95, so we could call it 45 if we want. But there's two instances where it went up to 36 back in September of 2018 and November of 2021, where it was rejected and it completely reversed. There was only one other time back in 2021 where it went higher than 36, going up to that 45 area, but it still had the same result, came back in.
I'm sorry. I'm just catching up on some of these trades here real quick.
No worries. Daniel is mentioning SUGP, SUGP.
Yeah, I was just taking a look at that off the scanner here too. This thing ripping right out of the open. 110-year high here on SUGP. Tuna, what kind of rating does this have in the AI scanner?
Looks like 120 might be a resistance.
Your next spot there? Okay.
Yeah, and then you have, and then I would say 140 above that. All right, so how are some of these other names doing? Looks like LiDAR is trying to catch some support here. I still think we need to be careful with this. It's going sideways, kind of starting to indicate that this might come back in a little bit before it goes higher. So I think I'll just hold off on LiDAR at this level right now.
I've got VWAP here at 345. So, and here we go. Just literally as I said that, we got the volume candle to extend and the move down to accelerate here. I got to think this 345, 350 would make a decent bounce spot if you wanted to try it.
Open getting a bounce after getting some support from the 500-day SMA yesterday. Lion was just mentioning that it is up 10%, now approaching 13%.
Okay, so I was curious to see which way this was going to move. I had said earlier we're on the back side of this like short squeeze move, but that doesn't.
I think we just lost Ryan there. All right, so SUGP got 74% on the Tuna Signal AI. So that answers that question. I wonder if maybe one of the cats got to the power cable. Open high a day, says Jay. That yeah, sure enough, we are at the high of day. CYCC coming down to its 65 EMA now. See if it gets a bounce there. LiDAR, also the AI stock, that's also catching a little bit of a bounce on its 15 EMA, but I don't know that it's going to hold up. Still think the 365 level here, or I'm sorry, this is not a level. This is a trend line. Yes. So this trend line that we drew, whoa. Hi, everybody. Let me see if I can get a chart up here for you. Give me 1 second. I'll share the screen. I'll close that. All right. Let me turn some stuff on here and we'll get this going here. Where do I have all those? There we go. This off. And now we are looking at here. I was looking at LiDAR. Let's pull that up. All right. Oh, turn on the VWAP. Okay. So this still coming down. Unfortunately, I don't have my drawings on this one, but VWAP is where if this continues to go lower, we would want to see this turn around. That's going to be at about 350. It looks like Tesla is getting pounded some more. CYCC seems dead. Yeah. Let me take a look at Tesla and see, or I'm sorry, let me take a look at Tesla and I'll look at CYCC. Tesla, This coming down. It looks like it's getting a little bit of a bounce right now, but I don't like this formation here. This could indicate that we are setting up to make another move lower. So 300, I would say, is certainly setting up to get a test. Maybe another 5-10 minutes before this resolves lower, but this is starting to set up to take a lower move. So that's what I'd be watching for there. It's the 13th show exactly. Okay, so Ryan will be right back. I just got word that his modem's resetting itself. So once it's past that, he'll be back. Also, as Zach mentioning, Should Peak got a knife, and CYC seems. I'm going to bring up CYCC. We'll see how that looks. This still kind of getting a bounce off the 65 VMA, so it's got that going for it, but needs to hold above it. And then Should P. Let's look at that. That's GP. Yeah, certainly looks like it knifed all the way down to the 9 EMA. But it is getting a bounce and trying to recapture VWAP. So if you caught that, congratulations. If not, don't worry about it. Do not worry about it. There's plenty more to trade. Now we got our next candle. It's trying to recover. Maybe they're still alive and Should P. Is he mentioning Amazon? Let's look at Amazon. AMZN. Wow, that's a nice series of candles, but we are starting to get some selling. So after that third candle, some pullback certainly to be expected. Don't want to see it go beneath the VWAP, though. Let me look at a daily chart and see what we got there.
Well,
hey, there he is. He's back.
Yeah, evidently Miss Sweeney cut my internet line here because we were making too many jokes.
No, she wanted you all. She wanted you all to herself.
Okay, that's absurd. All right, let's bring on Markets and Mayhem and see how he's doing. Mayhem, did you just cause mayhem with my machine?
Yeah, sorry about that.
You played that one perfectly. Good morning, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to be back with you guys, and some real bloodshed happening over there in Tesla. I was listening to that call last night, and I've listened to a lot of Tesla calls, and they've generally been a bit of a circus, but last night it felt like it kind of took the cake. And Elon just was not excited at all. The passion was just gone. He was so sedated. It almost seemed like he was a bit drugged. But then his CFO also said, hey, you know, we've got a lot of challenges with these credits rolling off. And that was one of the only reasons this company was profitable, I might add. They've also delayed the production, the rollout of Optimus. There's been some issues there. So a lot of the sort of forward-looking plans, whether it was self-driving, which has also run into a lot of hiccups, the autonomy of these Optimus robots, you know, having them actually be self-directed. A lot of that stuff has hit major hiccups. And then the core business, the automaker business, is also seeing some pretty big problems. So I think Tesla could see more of a reckoning than just what we're seeing today. I think this could be the start of a larger downtrend for the company, unfortunately.
Okay, that's interesting because one of the things that I had said earlier, we've seen stuff like this with Tesla before, and we've seen that actually end up being a pretty decent buying opportunity. You're saying exercise a little bit more caution here. Do you have any downside levels that would make this more attractive or targets where you think this stock could move?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this thing could get back to around the April lows. So I'd be looking between 230 to 240 as an area for it to ultimately base, and then I wouldn't mind taking a swing on that.
Okay, that's really good. Yeah, Musk did say to expect a rough patch. I think he said a couple of quarters. Mayhem, check me on that. I think that was what it was. So
yeah, into like mid 2026 essentially.
Yeah. Amazon is on an absolute tear. Otherwise, thanks Izzy for pointing that out. It's going right now. This thing is taking off. 233 now.
Check out ALB. This is one that we talked about last time and the time before, and it is just ripping. I think we can now qualify this as a breakout. The reversal's complete. Now we're in the next phase of accumulation.
Yeah, this is a long-term hold for me. I like it.
Yeah,
I like
this
it too.
This was kudos to both of you because we were all kind of trying to talk about where the bottom might be. And to your point, Mayhem, if we're breaking out now, don't you think that bottom was pretty solidified?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I think this is very good looking.
Yeah, this to me pretty good. That $60 level seemed to actually be the bottom. We're 23 points above that. Do you have any? Do the options tell you where this might go at all?
Let's take a look here. Last time I saw a call wall at 80, which we've definitely decidedly jumped over. So
Right.
seeing some positioning starting to roll higher here to the 85 strike and 90 strike on ALB.
Okay.
But nothing near what we see at 80. So I'd still like to see some confidence shown in that positioning continuing to roll higher.
Okay. And this is what you're looking at here in terms of that.
Yes.
And this is the 80 call wall that we jumped. I believe, weren't we like right at this the last time we talked? Now we've jumped above that. So kudos. It looks like that 85 and 90, your next spot there.
Yeah, we were like right in the high 70s, and we were looking for that to be an area of potential resistance to resolve above. So like you said, this is a nice, attractive area. If you look at the volume profile on this stock too, we've just been pulled into a new area that this stock likes to trade in. So I think we can also say we're seeing a bottom from that perspective, that we've gone through that low volume node and really pulled higher into an area of pretty material support. So I can share this chart as well. But this is what I'm looking at to kind of qualify that. It's a longer term chart, looking at a weekly going back to about June 2020. So really pulling in about 5 years of price data. You can see that big gap in the volume profile. We were real volatile in that gap. Yep. Now we've been pulled into the next high volume node. So I like that too.
Okay. Good stuff. This ALB, this seems to be working here. Good stuff on the swing.
Tootsie Roll, another one to take a look at.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This was a monster call. Mayhem, first of all, I know a lot of people are not even aware that this was a stock. In fact, when I had shouted out this call that you had made, I believe it was yesterday, one of my private equity veterans was like, I didn't even know this was a stock. Look at the move that this look at the move that this is made. I think this was called right in here, 34 handle.
Yes.
5 points. That is humongous move, and very, very quickly. Really good stuff there.
We're getting close. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just mentioning ALB is making its way towards the pre-market high yesterday, which was 84. That's pretty significant level there.
Oh yeah, it is.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're great. I was just going to say, for a Tootsie Roll, this is what makes me love a stock: when it's underfollowed, when it's misunderstood, and where there's a momentum shift that starts to pull that interest in. And both ALB and Tootsie Roll, in addition to having real catalysts, they're short squeezes. These are companies that had large bets against them that are being unwound, in some cases in a somewhat disorderly manner. And I got to say, it just comes back to our mantra, right? 'Tis the season to be squeezing.
Yep, and we have been, I love that, and we have been mentioning that a whole lot. We actually thought Rocket might move yesterday, but that was kind of disappointing.
It started off promising pre-market.
Sure did.
It?
Yeah, it was only, I mean, 1995, your pre-market high, that thing almost printed 20. I would have lightened some of those leap calls if it had opened anywhere near 20. Netflix getting another question here. NFLX, what's the buy spot here on Netflix? I had told you, hey, look out for 1200. We went right through that. Just a kind of a recap from yesterday. Sure looks like 1138 and then 11 here is kind of what we're waiting out on Netflix for a swing long opportunity.
Yeah, that is an area where it starts to get quite interesting.
See if we got some more downside there. Man, that thing just straight down out of the open, actually taking another leg down as we speak.
I'm looking at 1160 as the next area where I might get a little more interested in this thing.
Okay, that's really close here then. That's almost, well, I mean, we might even hit that here today. There you go, Vaughn. There you go, Vaughn. What else do we have on some of these movers here? Anything looking interesting yet?
Oh, smoke tuna flashing MVIS again. This is Microvision. Now, let me look at the short interest on this one, because I remember this thing getting a lot of short interest in the past. Where are we at with it now? 24%, 5 days to cover. Think that qualifies.
Indeed. Nice little push here on really
does.
good buying volume. Sorry, man.
No. I was just responding to what 13 was saying. It really does. I was just pulling it up on my end, and I like the chart on MVIS too. It looks like one of those long-term, everyone's forgotten about the stock kind of sideways bottoms.
I see 180 as being the potential spot of rejection.
Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying. Kind of taking it back to where it bottomed out in 2023.
Yep. And we failed to recapture earlier this year in February.
Oh, yeah. That is a big spot for this one.
So I think that's where I would be looking at. And we're getting, RSI is getting a little extended here too. So all those things combined together, I would think 180 is going to be the spot where we get some sellers to step in and pull this back.
Let's take a look at the volume profile on this one as well. I'm just curious to see because I think it's going to confirm exactly what you're saying. Yeah, there's a pretty chunky amount of exposure around there as well. Just where people like to trade. And then if we can break above that spot, just above $2 starts to become a pretty big area of potential interest.
Like a lot of traders need confirmation that they're not going to lose their hats if they get in around, or if they're in it and we get up to 180. They want to see that move over 180, and then they feel more confident.
Do you think maybe we get one of those sort of head fakes lower and then continuation plays that catches both sides off guard?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, me either.
With how volatile this market is and how volatile it's probably going to be next week, it wouldn't surprise me. Really quick, though, getting a question about UAVS levels. One thing about UAVS is that today we hit the 200-day SMA for the first time in years. And I do mean years. So we're getting some rejection off of that right away here. I think the last time we even interacted with it was either 2023 or 2023 was when we last I think interacted with it, unless I'm just not getting a correct candle here. There's a big old green candle in October of 2024. It might be a phantom candle, but other than that, no interaction with that 200-day SMA in a long time.
I'm starting to see some Tesla calls get bought here. Pretty aggressive.
How many times has this thing had reverse splits? My God.
Oh, it's a serial reverse splitter.
Yeah.
Like it was trading at like $260,000 a share. What?
Yeah, I see 3 reverse splits: a one for 25, a one for 20, and a one for 50. That'll do it.
That'll do it.
Wow. Exponential reverse splitting.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We also got
Open trying to bounce off of its VWAP. That might actually challenge the highs. That was probably one of the initial big squeezers that we had here. Maybe that gets kicked up again. Mayhem, let me ask you, if Open has pulled back tremendously from the highs that it put in when it really made that squeeze run. If it finds some type of support and then makes another run, we can assume then that some of these other high short interest stocks might exhibit the same thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think one of the things that's important to contextualize about these, I like to call them hedge fund hotels, because they're crowded short plays and they have a high risk of a 3-alarm fire, which is where those squeezes come into play. And you have to think about it. If this is a really popular area of the market where these guys are getting really concentrated and they start running against them, what do they have to do? They have to start covering their other shorts too, right? Their risk manager taps them on the shoulder,
right.
Says, you got to flatten out your short book. It's the shortest it's been in many years and we're getting crushed. So this is one of the things that's helping to drive it. Another bit of data that I was looking at was showing me last night that retail is also a big part of this. Not really surprising. We've been looking at this stuff. We've been playing it. We're retail. But this has been the biggest retail participation in Goldman's short basket, these highly shorted stocks, in years. So it's really the perfect storm for hedge funds that went into this environment with record gross leverage and very low net leverage, meaning they're really, really caught out on their shorts.
I can see a couple of areas where you might get support from Open Door, and one has already been hit. That's the 500-day SMA. We broke over that, or closed over it on Friday the 18th last week, and then we gapped up this week. Coming back down to it, we tested that as support, and we're coming back off of it now. If it reverses and comes back down to test it again, I don't think it'll hold up a second time. But this reversal makes it a level worth watching. The next one I'd be keeping an eye on is $3.
Real quickly here, I'm seeing some, we were just talking about it. I saw some ALB unusual option activity here. These were the 110, 120 calls. These were bought as part of a spread. So it sure looks like traders also thinking that this is going to continue here. And it looks like they're looking for 110 to 120 based on that trade. I saw a couple more ALB sweeps here. This $79 call sweep, that is not part of a spread. That's likely someone closing that trade. But more interest here. The January 2026 calls, 100 to 120. There was multiple repeat buys as part of a spread.
That's exactly what we want to see for continuation. So
That's
that's
right.
great.
Yep. That is the good thesis here on that one. What were the dates on those calls? January of 2026. Joe.
UMAC is going, says Izzy.
That's Unusual Machines, right? That's one of
Yeah.
those drone names.
I think so. It's a
Yeah,
man.
that is popping here, and that's popping away from that 1091 level that we had identified. It was consolidating there all morning.
Looks like around 1140, you got some resistance. So back on last Friday, this thing had a pretty ugly knife in the morning of the regular session. Went as low as, what is this? I'm sorry, 1 second. This went as low as 1063 before it started reversing. Not able to recapture that 1150 area where it knifed through. I think I'd be keeping the 1140, 1150 area. I think I'd be looking at that as the area of resistance. Could break through it, but that's where I'd see the resistance at based on the price action.
Jay mentioning here, UMAC Red Dog likes this. Were you here on Tuesday for Red Dog's part? His little spot? And yeah, Ondis, this is actually responding here, up 6%. We'll take that after yesterday's move down. I'll tell you that much.
I got to say, I don't like the company, but I like the price action in Novavax or NVAX right now. This is another squeeze that's playing out. The company has over 30% short interest. We're seeing a decent surge in buying today. The company is up over 7% and some decent volume coming in as well. About 3 million shares traded so far, and that relative volume surging. So this is another one that looks like it could have some potential. The chart looks somewhat constructive, especially if we can put in a close above the 50-day.
Looks like they had news on their preclinical data demonstrating their H5N1 avian pandemic influenza vaccine candidate.
There we go. So we got a catalyst. We got a stock that's highly shorted, and we're starting to see some of that flow coming in.
Yeah, that's, man, 28% of the float shorted, 9 days to cover. Squeeze.
Legacy AI here, IBM taking another leg down after the earnings report yesterday. I'm actually seeing more puts get bought for this too. This is the November 225s here on IBM. They see another 27 points of downside. I
would say that on the one hand, I think IBM is going to once again kind of lose the tech race. They definitely have a lot of brain share in IBM. They were way ahead in AI. Remember Watson way back in the day?
Oh yeah.
But on the other side of it, they really haven't innovated much. They've stagnated so much. But I will also say, if you zoom this thing out to a weekly chart, it's hard not to want to buy bigger dips.
Do you have any levels for that?
I mean, I'm looking just from the weekly chart. I'd be looking at the 50-week average, but let me pull up the options on IBM.
That's perfect, because the 50-week and the 200-day are almost identical in the same areas. Yep.
Oh, that's right. 3D. That's right. I totally forgot about that. NVAX was one of the stocks that Tim called, I think, for his momentum calls, right? Pretty sure. Interesting. Now we're getting a little bit of squeeze action there, NVAX.
I will say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just pulling up here. I was going to pull up your gamma chart here for IBM. Here's what I got.
And I think we're going to like the idea that we've got some confluence here between the 200-day, the 50-week, and the put wall. They're pretty close to each other. That big wall, it puts around 250. So we're right near that area in price. Obviously, we're seeing some flow push below that, so it's going to be important to see if we close below that level and we continue to see put interest building. But for now, I would expect some support to come in just around that even 250. In fact, there is a little bidding going on just off the lows right now.
Okay.
This might be even more standout if you go to a monthly, but 220 and 240 look like previous areas of where it's caught support and went higher. And yeah, both those areas, 220 and 240, might be even easier to see on a monthly chart. Every time that we moved, like the last time it moved through 220, it caught support for every candle that came down to test it. Same thing with 240. So next stop down here for IBM, I'd say that 240 area, looking for support.
Yeah,
And this
rocket down.
is,
Sorry, rocket down here 3%, or yeah, just about 3% here. We did get some of that housing data earlier, Izzy.
oh yeah, we just had housing data pushed through about 3 minutes ago, and it looks like month over month new home sales up about 0.6% versus a forecast of 4.3%. So not the best data coming on the back of existing home sales yesterday, which were also pretty disappointing.
Yeah. Now, U.S. new home sales month over month for June, 0.6 in the positive. That was versus a prior read of minus 11.6%. So it did look like that turned around here a little bit.
But we were looking for a forecast of 4.3% on the gain. So it's disappointing what we were hoping to see.
Yeah. It's moving in the right direction, but not enough, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martin, that's true. IBM does have quantum. That's one of the companies that is working on quantum technology.
American Airlines down 8.2%.
Ouch.
Now that mayhem, they said, or they insinuated, well, they flat out said that the worst should be behind them. You calling BS on that or what?
I kind of am, yeah, because if we look at the impact to tourism globally coming to the United States, it's been hard hit. It hasn't recovered. And how do those people get here?
Airplanes.
And then the other part of it is we're just about to get past peak travel season in the US where people fly from one state to another. So I'd say I don't think the worst is yet behind them. And the chart to me looks a little precarious here. If it can't hold above the 50-day, I think we could get back to some of these lower levels, maybe just above $10 if we look at where it bottomed out in June. Maybe around 10.27. If it can't hold there, I'd be looking back at those April lows. But I think the airlines are a very difficult industry to invest in.
No question. And that has proven itself over and over again. Wing Trader here saying, I have a lot of friends that are realtors, all told me that not too many people are buying homes. That is consistent with our real estate expert that gives us updates on the housing markets on a regular basis on Happy Hour, which we often share here. Interestingly enough, she herself is trying to sell her own house and struggling to do that. So all of that seems to be consistent.
Rates are too high, prices are too high. Something's got to change.
Yep, that's right.
And to go back to what she was saying about, because she followed the or listened to the D.R. Horton conference call, fewer homes are being built, and that they expect to see smaller lot sizes going forward until affordability is back under control. Company still has backlog. It is taking expansion community by community. They do not see headwinds from U.S. immigration policy, but they are concerned about the future impacts to lumber and are seeking alternatives.
Yeah, I think the whole concern about immigration really is not the issue here. It's the price and the rates.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now, when we first looked at D.R. Horton, we were all kind of like, wow, 17% on the back of that report. Why? D.R. Horton has pulled off of that spot. If I go back to my main chart here for DHI, I think one of the things that we had said, I'm kind of going off memory here because I don't have any notes in front of me. And 13, I'm not sure you took notes on this one, but I believe one of the things that we talked about for DHI was a pullback to some of those moving averages here. And as soon as I can bring this chart up, we should be able to see that pretty clearly.
Yeah, I think we were talking about, how it's
here it is
coming down to the 500 and the 200 that are close to the same area.
Yep. 500 at 143, 200 at 140.5. We're still pulling back here. As long as it can hold these areas, we might have a new move higher here, or we might set up for a new move higher here. One more thing to mention, if we break some of these moving averages, you have a gap that doesn't fill down to 132. So there might still be some more downside if this can't hold.
And there's some.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
I was going to say, there's that gap fill. It could still very well happen, and that one wouldn't be too bad because it's kind of mirroring the price action on the way down as it's making its way back up. So if it did come down to about 133 or 135, that area where we're getting some of the lows from December, that might be okay as long as we can get some footing there and recapture the 200 and the 500-day SMAs thereafter.
And then also one more thing here. Michelle saying, I live in Austin, Texas, and our housing market went from sky high to basement low. A lot of houses now sit on the market for 7 months. That also is going to be the carryover from the people that fled prisons like Illinois and California during COVID and went to places like Florida and Austin, Texas. So you're actually seeing some of that same behavior, not only in Austin, but in some states in Florida. And I think that's just kind of a leveling out process. One of the other things that the real estate expert told us is that, yeah, this is still dependent upon location, but there are still some worrying trends that we're looking at. So anyway, with DR Horton here, I've got 140 to 143 as your next potential spot for a potential swing long if it holds that on a pullback.
And I would say with this one, watch the 50-week as resistance overhead. It's cleanly rejected it. And then watch the 200-week as key support. You do not want to see this thing close below it. But the last 2 times it tested it, it got a rather robust bid.
Okay. That's good stuff here. Let's check in on LiDAR. This did finally, yes, came back into the VWAP and so far has bounced. Trying to take out the 390 spot. That's going to be your 9 EMA on that 5-minute. We'll see if LiDAR has any strength here. Otherwise, we have kind of a nasty downtrend from that opening power candle that took us higher right out of the open. Really want to see this trend reverse if we're going to try and day trade that to the upside.
What's the catalyst for this one today? That's a huge move.
Shares are trading higher after the company announced its Apollo LiDAR has been integrated by NVIDIA into the Drive AGX platform.
Wow. So you're seeing some big names starting to say, we need LiDAR and full self-driving. This is something that I strongly believe in personally, because what our eyes can see and what we're able to infer knowing how to drive is a lot different than what a computer can see using cameras. I still think we need the LiDAR to have awareness of objects and space around us, particularly in conditions where there's sun coming down on the cameras or fog or other inclement
rain,
weather. Yeah,
snow, absolutely.
100%. So LiDAR's gain is Tesla's pain.
Okay.
I think they'll adopt it, though.
Wolf is getting a lift here after settling around the 200 EMA on the 5-minute, making its way towards VWAP right now. Also notice that ALB continues to make some new highs here for the session. 84.81 now.
Coles is trying to squeeze again, guys.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is what we I'm so glad I asked you about that earlier. Maybe we do get some more move in some of these squeeze names. Here's Coles. The spot that it fell away from here, about 14.30. That's another $1.20 from where we're at here.
Was that move on Tuesday completely insane or what? Thing was up 80% pre-market, and it got cut by 3/4 during regular trading.
Yeah, and I got a whole bunch of these phantom candles here from the afternoon session as well.
Yeah, there's a bunch of halts that happened that day too.
Open Door is trying to push up to the new session highs. The current high is 272.
Rocket rolling over. Actually, Rocket tried to bounce off that initial pull from the open. It's rolling over here.
It's creating opportunities.
Yeah, it sure is.
Another one might be worth watching here, FTRE, also coming up on the squeeze radar with a rather constructive looking chart, possibly an inverted head and shoulders bottom.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that's a really nice formation there.
Okay.
We've already started to resolve because we passed the neckline, it looks like. I mean, what do you think? Do you think we passed it? It looks like we passed the neckline.
It does, and we just also broke above the daily Ichimoku cloud and a large volume node cluster. So there's a lot of things kind of putting in the idea that we're bottoming out on this. I like it a lot. Also pushing above the 21-day EMA.
I would like for after today to have a pullback candle that gets us back to the neckline, and then we shoot off from there.
Yeah, that would make for
yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's a great observation. When you get those back tests, you tend to have more continuation, and you also have more folks that get stopped out, so they have to buy at higher prices.
Yep, and we're seeing a series of 3 candles here, and typically when we get these, like a series of bullish candles like this, and the same thing when they're on the way down, we tend to see the 4th one be the opposite to these. So that'd be great if tomorrow we do see some selling that takes us back down to the neckline.
Fortrea is a global late-stage contract research organization that provides comprehensive phase 1 through phase 4 clinical trial management, clinical pharmacology, and patient access solutions. So I wonder if this is going to kind of fit in any type of the biotech themes that we see on some of these stocks going through some of these different phases.
Well, let's look at their website and see what they've got in the pipeline. I can get to their pipeline. It's a weird site.
Tesla, after that initial bounce here, rolling back over, seeing more puts get bought into this as well.
Yeah, I think the narrative is very challenged here. I think that's one thing that, both traders and investors are going to be keeping an eye on with this thing, because all the sort of legs of the narrative, the robotics, the full self-driving, the robo-taxis, that's all gone. The credits are gone. You got to wonder what the next catalyst is going to be. I think it gets beaten down more, 230s, 240s, and then it becomes a nice swing trade long.
Okay. That's definitely something to watch. I will definitely take a stab at that. Google selling off here. This looks like it's going to go green to red here. I am seeing some calls get bought into this.
I will say that's good timing on my part, because I was looking at taking profits on Google into today's move. So I started to lock some of that in. I'm going to start to lock the rest of that in, I think, because this has been a great swing trade. But if you zoom out on that Google chart, you can see we're getting right back to a pretty key area of resistance and implied supply by the volume profile.
Yeah, and remember, we were talking here, if Google really kind of turns around, one of the other things, this is actually starting to form a head and shoulders pattern on the daily if this continues. I like that, Mayhem. I had a nice swing trade on this leading up to earnings. I was using the July contract that, of course, expired prior to the print, so my plan was never to be in for the print. But that trade paid really well. Glad I was able to book that here. We'll see if we turn around on this one.
Yeah, that was a great trade, Ryan.
Yeah. That was the idiot drop from the OpenAI browser thing that we all kind of agreed was nonsense.
Which 13 was like, yeah, but it's just Chromium wrapped. It's like, so it's like, what really is the problem?
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, we got really good results from its search business from the earnings last night.
Yeah, they said some really interesting things on the earnings call, one of which was that they have increased CapEx, but they increased CapEx because there's overwhelming demand for Google Cloud. And this is one of the catalysts for this company that makes me like the idea of buying it on a meaningful pullback again, because the biggest problem that I had with Google was they just don't promote their businesses well enough. There's actually a website called the Google Product Graveyard or something along those lines, because so many of their products and services die because they don't properly promote them. And I was always watching Google Cloud as one of the most underappreciated parts of this business. They have so much slack capacity per compute unit. It's much cheaper than places like Amazon or Microsoft AWS. And now we're starting to see the demand come back. If we're to take Sundar at his word, then Google Cloud demand is in excess of what they're able to supply right now, which is a very bullish catalyst over the intermediate to long term. So if we do get a pullback on Google that's meaningful, I do like the idea of getting long again.
Okay. Do you have any level for that on Google?
Let's take a look here.
But while you're doing that, IXHL is trying to break the pre-market highs. We're right there at 144, trying to get through it. See a lot of sellers at 150, though.
And remember, this was a mover on no news.
Yeah.
PR yesterday, medicinal company for sleep apnea, 68 million float, 6% of the float short.
There it goes. It's taking it. Just put a new high in. Looking for that, take out the seller wall at 150.
So for Google, I'd like to see it trade down to about 160 to 165. That would be my accumulation zone.
160, 165?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There seems like there's a decent amount of interest down there. That's also an area in the volume profile where we see a lot of transacting. We've seen the stock bottom out on other moves earlier this year. If we look at over the summer, for example, June, July. So I think 160 to 165 would be an area where I'd rebid this thing aggressively.
Okay.
Also kind of interesting to look at that Google chart. We almost did a full gap fill from that drop in February.
Yeah, that's right in here, right? That filled up at what, 203? Boy, we did almost get there.
Bloom Energy is running hard. I saw this one come up in the scan earlier, but the chart looked really extended, so I didn't mention it. But this thing's now up 20%. A huge breakout on BE.
They're going to be deployed at select Oracle Cloud Infrastructure data centers.
That's huge.
This is the fuel cell batteries that they're using. So I guess that's gonna be their backup systems.
Interesting.
BE, this was a call from somebody 16 to 18. I can't remember who that was, but man, oh man, that was a good one.
Heck of a call.
Yeah. I can't remember who did that. Hats off to you, whoever that was. Sorry, I can't place it.
Yeah, I hope they captured this whole move.
I remember when we saw this one taking off in November last year because they were getting news regarding, I think, the same thing, that they were going to be used in a backup. I don't remember which company they were going to be used with, but their fuel cell battery backups, I believe, is the in the news for that as well.
And this one, with today's move, jumping over its $30 call wall as well, and seeing some roll up to 35 on BE. So that's also pretty constructive in the idea of potential continuation. And if we look at skew, it's not blown out. It was blown out earlier. It's leveled out. So that also gives us a sense that we're not lopsided in calls, that there's still some room to push higher.
That's perfect. 35 was where I was pointing out earlier when we were looking more to the left back in 2021 and 2018. 35, I think I mentioned 36 was the level, but that area up in there tends to see reversals.
Interesting.
All right. Also notice this one here, 3D Systems, stock ticker DDD. This moving higher on volume. Let's see if there's any news here. This is up 13%. I don't actually see any fresh news on this.
I don't either.
And I noticed that SSYS Stratasys, this is another 3D printing company. This was on the scan. Yeah, this was Tuesday. So this had a big move on to, was that on earnings? Let's see.
Is there any news in the 3D printing space overall that this is moving in sympathy with?
Not that I'm aware of. The only thing I know about is my buddy who's currently 3D printing me a sign, but that has nothing to do with this.
So 3D, this is the highest short percent of the float shorted that it's ever had.
Oh wow!
And it's not like huge. It's like almost 20%. But I'm looking at through the history. I don't see a higher amount in its entire history.
I see once, just during COVID, it had a bit of a higher amount, around 36%, but then it dropped precipitously after we had an enormous squeeze move in 2021, or just leading into 2021. But you're right, this is the highest that it's been in like 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have, this only goes down to July 15th of 22.
Yeah, I think we have a max data pull on this. I'll see if I can extend that though.
So thanks for giving us that extra information there.
Yeah, you got it.
And now the only other thing I could think about why this and maybe other 3D printing names would be going is because, you know, Tesla's getting hit and they're a big 3D printer name as well. That I don't know if that's the exact reason, but that's one of the things that my mind would go to first.
Kevin's saying that the sign that I'm going to get is a neon one of my own face. No, Kev. No, Kev. I've actually got a couple of them.
And no, Trout Bum, DDD is not a Sydney Sweeney stock.
Okay. You guys are just too much here. Real quick. So here's an example of one of those 3D printed signs that I had. Mayhem, I was talking to you about Escape from Tarkov not long ago. This sign actually lights up. Pretty sweet.
That's awesome. I love that.
This guy is insane with his 3D printing capabilities.
Wow.
He made me a Bears sign and a Cubs sign, and I'm going to get a BMW M logo here pretty soon.
Is this just a hobby, or is this something he does professionally?
Yeah, it started off as a hobby, but he actually has his own business now. He's quite talented at using CAD to design, and he's really good at matching colors, and it makes great stuff.
That's the American dream right there.
That's
I love
right.
that.
That's right. If you have any ideas for cool 3D printed stuff, I can run it by him.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we'll talk offline.
Bloom Energy just got a pop through its VWAP and is trying to take out the session highs. Sorry to be
the guy that pulls us back into why we're here.
Yeah,
you're such a bad guy, man.
I was just thinking the same thing.
You guys look like you're having such a good time too. It's like I have to do it.
We have a good time every day. Bite your tongue. We have a good time every day.
B. Riley Financial surging. This is another short squeeze stock that's starting to catch a pretty big bid since the beginning of July, and it still has a fairly robust amount of short interest. It's about 40% of float short, up about 7% today, starting to come up on the scan.
It seems like all this thing does is have high short interest.
That's their business model.
Yeah, we've dealt with Riley before a number of times. This thing, it's a good mention though on the short interest, because we've actually seen this thing squeeze massively before. I think the last time we saw this thing really move, this was back in February. This stock went from 3 to 7 in just a couple of sessions here, likely on a short squeeze.
You want to hear something insane on Riley?
Yeah. Yes.
Short interest in the summer, fall of last year was 80% of float.
Yep. There was rumors that they were going to go out of business. There was, I can't remember the exact specifics, but there was something there that they had really, really effed up, and they were good. It looked like they were going to have trouble. And I'm guessing that's why the short interest was so high.
Open new highs. 280 is now the high, and looks like LIDR is trying to get a lift here. It's been riding the VWAP for some time, trying to get back over 395. Still trying to do that, but open door flying right now.
That'll be really interesting if that continues to squeeze here. Bull pulling back. Looks like it's going to try and test the intraday lows from yesterday. I would imagine a round trip to 15 is on deck here if this loses this area from yesterday. Got that anywhere between 1630 and 1650.
We are got a little bit of a pull here in ALB. There was something else I was seeing too. When we were talking about earlier, looks like MXL. Sorry, go ahead.
FFAI, this is going again. This ran on Tuesday pretty hard, pulled back a little bit yesterday, higher here today.
It looks like LIDR is trying to hit that 395 area again.
Here you go, Mayhem. SPX trades here. What do you got?
Yeah, we have some call interest starting to build up at these higher strikes. This is really constructive to see. You've got folks rolling above 6,400. So they're looking at those 6410s, the 6415s, and we've also seen a lot of call interest if you zoom out to the broader chart, which I'll share in just a moment, building up at 6,500. So what this is really telling us is larger desks are really getting interested in higher prices. So you can see that interest building in 6,400 and 6,500 and rolling off 6,300, which we know for a while was that big wall of calls. It's gone. That interest has rolled higher.
I was going to say it's gone, and it looks like it's rolled higher here to some pretty tradable levels, 64 and 65 next.
100%. I think that we see larger desks expressing confidence of more upside ahead of big tech earnings, which is pretty interesting.
That sets up next week, doesn't it?
Yes.
That sets up next week.
Fun. It's going to be real fun.
As if we didn't have enough fun this week. We're going to have even more next week, it sounds like.
Lots of, I mean, it's to me, it's one of the funniest things is that we have the FOMC rate decision, and then they get all the data that they look at for those decisions.
The day after, right?
Well, we get GDP the same day that they make the rate decision, but we also get PCE the next day, and then the day after that we get the BLS jobs report. So I think it's 2 out of the 3 things that they look at. It's happening afterwards.
And I think they probably have models that can infer what a lot of that data is going to look like. I personally love looking at some of their models like the Atlanta Fed GDP Now and the Cleveland Fed Inflation Nowcast. Both of those are really helpful for gauging, kind of where we may be and also where some of the economists may expect those data prints to come in. And then we can get a better sense as to what the reaction function may be with a larger deviation.
We are getting close to that 10:30 time where we start to see volume really leave the market as people get up from their desks, go talk about all the wonderful trades they had to their buddies while they're sipping on mimosas and having avocado toast.
That's oddly specific, but I love the passion. Real quick here, VKTX. This actually reported earnings yesterday. I know we talked about this yesterday. I'd asked you guys if you still thought this might be a bit of a takeout target. Miss on earnings yesterday. Stock was sent down by about 7%. Interestingly enough here today, though, We went a red green here. This is now up by just about 1 3/4%.
Because it's the season to be squeezing. When
And
you
this
have
also high short interest.
when you have a 30% short interest with almost 7 days to cover, it'd be squeezing.
I feel like there's a lot of risk managers tapping these desks at hedge funds, just tapping them on the shoulder. You got to cover this. You got to cover that. You're way extended on this. And we're just seeing it play out week after week before our very eyes. It's a beautiful thing. One other one to look at here that's another squeeze is CLB. The chart looks pretty constructive, and it's starting to break out here on some decent volume.
Oh, that's a pretty big short interest.
They just had earnings, right? That says their conference call has concluded.
Yep. This is one in the oil and gas space, which, we know that everyone hates and has to sell to zero. That's sort of like the investment mandate of all this ESG stuff. But the reality is there's actually a fair amount of opportunities in this space a lot of the time.
And this is more on the exploration side, isn't it?
Yeah.
Open 290 now, as that certainly looks like it's on its way to 3.
Yep. We have a high from the pre-market yesterday, when we opened in the morning, of about $3. So that's going to certainly be a resistance area. Resistance, I hope we take out.
Coles here, we talked about this one a little bit. This squeeze continues. Looks like 14 next here for Coles.
Big offer zone there at 14 too, about 38,000 shares on offer just above. So that's probably going to be a bit magnetic. We can see folks are expressing some interest in taking some profits up there. And then above that, 14.90 and 15, we have 29,000 shares offered at each of those prices.
Okay, we'll see if those levels get hit. Rhett here asking about Chipotle. Here's your Chipotle chart. Could you please pull up a Chipotle chart? I stupidly held over earnings and trying to decide on the average down, which I rarely do. So I can't help you with how you trade. You're going to have to figure that out yourself. The one thing that I will mention here is that on this nasty pull so far, we've held these Liberation Day lows. So maybe this is a tradable spot. 46.
I would say also that put wall at 45 on CMG is formidable. That should offer us some support, worth watching the flow and positioning as it evolves to see if it continues to roll lower. But right now, that stands out on the chain like a sore thumb.
And my spot from earlier this morning when we drew the trend line, I like 43. And that kind of coincides with the June and May of 2023 highs.
And I would say if it was me in the position that you're in right now, I don't like averaging down on losers. I tend more to take the other side of it, be patient and see how it may recover, and then look to see if there's a momentum shift in something like this, because this thing looks like, and often earnings reactions take more time to resolve. So this downside move may take, I would give it until early next week to see how it resolves, because these reactions, you got to think, you've got folks that are long this thing. They have to have a board meeting, decide, are we going to continue to, be long this? How are we going to adjust our positioning? So the reaction function can take a little longer than, what we may look at when we're parsing this stuff in real time. The larger investment firms are going to take, days to a week to parse all the information from something like this and then decide how they may adjust their holdings.
Real quick reminder from our friend Paul Tudor Jones: losers, average losers, folks.
And,
just be careful.
Yeah. No, I'm joking. Partly because some of the stocks that I've been talking about here on Swings, I've actually averaged, and you've seen me go through pain. Knock on wood, some of it has worked now, but you've seen me go through some pain here. So just be careful with that. That being said, what did you have there? 43 to 45 looks to be that support area here on CMG.
LIDAR, LIDR, just knifed through its VWAP.
Wow.
And ALB is trying to approach the session high.
That's a nasty reversal in LIDAR off the open. That often happens with these too. This is the exact thing that happened to Coles on Tuesday. Huge pre-market surge. As soon as the market opened, they tried to push it higher, but you saw aggressive sell deltas pretty much the entire day.
And SUGP, SUGP, that penny name is trying to get over its VWAP, where it's been getting rejected at most of the morning.
And folks here, just looking at the VIX, we have a 15 print. We actually printed 14.99 on the VIX. It was that 13 to 15 level in the past where the VIX really kind of bounced when it traded back down there. I was giving you upside SPY targets of somewhere between 630 and 640. We're at 634.78 right now, pretty much at the midpoint of that. And VIX now reaching a spot where it might bounce from. Maybe we go a little bit lower here, but I'd be careful.
Let me show you guys something too on LiDAR real quick, just from Bookmap. Check out this chart. You can see all the red bubbles in the chart. The size of the bubble indicates the amount of the delta, or the difference between buying and selling, and the color indicates, which side is aggressive. This has been a story of seller aggression all morning in this thing. They are just absolutely leaning into it. So I'd be real careful with LiDAR.
It looks like a DNA chain.
Yeah, actually, it kind of does.
The telomeres are unraveling.
Yeah, they are.
The telomere did unravel, by the way, ticker TELO. Day Trader says Shug P sounds like a rap artist name. I think that every time it gets mentioned, Day Trader. I'm glad I'm not alone in that one.
I thought that too at first. I was like, wait, isn't that a rapper?
Instead of dropping albums, we're dropping stocks.
There we go.
All right. Looking around here for anything new.
Well, DNN that was mentioned earlier, that just printed a new session high of 224.
Yeah, Denison Mines. Well, I also noticed earlier today UUUU was also at the highs. So here's DNN.
Sorry, go ahead.
Tello is moving. Is it moving well, or is it? It's 240 here. Oh, yes, it is moving today. 16.5%.
Oh, 6. Yeah, you're right. So it looks like it's catching some support at about 2. No loss there. No. I mean, what I mean is no prints beneath it that I can see in the regular sessions. But it does look like it's going to have a formidable time at 250.
Regarding our discussion earlier on Albemarle, Jay Rice, ALB, the only thing I took out of the Tesla conference call was Musk saying demand for batteries is going to continue.
Yes.
Yep.
That's a great catch.
Yep, and that's also one of the things we were looking at with the tariffs on graphite, the shutting of that, not shutting, but the stop of the production in that one province in China, because the CCP deemed it so. So less supply of lithium, and we want to bring battery manufacturing back to the U.S. So looking good for batteries in the U.S.
And if we want to start scaling out other sources of power generation, we're going to need to have more batteries on the grid. So that's a whole other area of demand that still hasn't scaled, and I still think will as time goes on.
Tesla rolling back over now, seeing more 300 puts get bought here on Tesla. Looks like that's going to end up getting hit here. Bloom Energy, I'm seeing the 30 calls go off here. I'm tempted to say that this is probably profit taking.
Yeah.
More 30 calls here.
It's getting a bit stuck.
Ryan, do you remember the name of the company that Andy gave us that was a vanadium stock? Vanadium, that material that's going to be used in those large backup generators for data centers and buildings. They're not great for like cars and things, but they're great for just stationary, land-based only battery backup systems.
I know the discussion that you're talking about, but no, man, I'm sorry, I do not remember the ticker.
That's going to be another spot to look at. In addition to graphite and lithium, I think vanadium might also be a spot to look at as well.
SPY back at the highs here or near those highs.
Yeah, it's coming right up on an area that I think is worth watching. If we're looking at the future, 6409.50, that's a large level of call implied potential resistance overhead. I still think we have room to move over that, but we can see already that we've bumped our head against that level several times and retreated. So I'd like to see us push above it, build some acceptance, and then I think some of those flow levels I was talking about earlier can come into view.
Yeah, Jay, EAF, that's a great mention. I think ever since we started talking about graphite and batteries, this thing has been doing really well. Moved over its 200 EMA, still making its way towards its, SMA on the daily, still making its way towards the 500, but looking like it's on the recovery after double bottoming here since August.
Here, Mayhem, you got this. You sent this chart again.
Yeah, this is an update. We're seeing some put flow pick up in SPX. This could be some event hedging. You often see larger desks putting these hedging flows through earlier in the day ahead of event volatility catalysts, and with earnings season, it makes sense to see some of that. So we have a lot more put flow coming in at the 63.10 and 63.15 strikes on SPX here. So worth watching. It's not enough now where I'd say it's going to imbalance things and risk more downside, but if it continues to pick up and the top two put strikes get within about 40% or more excess than the top two call strikes, that's where I'd get a little more concerned, because this flow has shifted meaningfully since we first looked at this chart.
Okay. Thanks for the update on that.
Absolutely.
And look at that telomere now on the scanner here. Is this going from 6 to midnight? IXHL through the pre-market highs.
That is a big move in Telo today.
Yep. SBET, again, holding one of those levels that we identified, trying to trade up off of this. I don't know if I don't know if I would chase this in the move, though. I don't necessarily buy this.
Yeah, I'd be careful. It's a retail favorite too. It's getting a bit crowded. If we look at the Interactive Brokers order flow, this was one of the retail favorites.
Starting to see some more Tesla calls getting bought as we approach that $300 level. Not surprised to see that.
LiDAR puking to new lows here.
We talked about that too. That was a good call.
I'm trying to
more
find something
ALB
there.
calls.
More ALB calls. Yeah, that's making new highs. 86.18 now.
You know, one thing I'd say about that SBET chart also, just to go back, I'm not a huge subscriber to gap fill theory, but it's always interesting to see. We did more than fill that gap, and we've now settled below it into a high volume node. So I think we could get a bit stuck here on SBET.
Okay.
Kind of stuck under $30.
Yeah, I mean, the way this thing is trading, it feels like it's probably going to get stuck just around, maybe a bit below current levels. I'll just share the weekly chart I'm looking at here on this. But you can see the way that it's, yeah, I don't know why it.
Oh God,
it's kind of obnoxious.
Come on, dude.
I know.
No, it's not you. It's not you. It's Dan.
Yeah, I just wish it didn't do that. But yeah, so it just, the way that this thing traded filled up to the top. It's like the tippy top of that volume node. You see where it rejected? Right where the volume node started to drop off. So there's just no interest in trading this thing higher. Well, all the interest is really between like 30, 40.
That's really good stuff right there. This chart does a really good job of outlining what we've kind of looked at for SBET for the last week. It's summarized well in this chart.
Let's, you know, it's interesting that you mentioned Bumble, Jay, because I think I heard somebody talking about this as well recently. This is the social media platform, right?
Yeah,
Bumble?
it's a dating site.
Online dating site.
Yeah, this is the dating site where the women make the first move.
That's right.
The CEO who you know, the founder who's now become the CEO again, one of the things she said, I think it was last year, that had me in stitches was, we're not going to just have people date each other. What we want to do is build AIs, and those AIs will date each other. And then they'll figure out who you're. Yeah, I was
what
just like,
tarnation? Why would you say that? What?
I was like, I'm gonna have an aneurysm if you keep talking. Please stop.
Sparks are gonna fly.
But that was actually something she said. I'm not even kidding.
How many of these profiles do you think on these dating sites are fake? I'm proud to say I've never used one. I don't know if that makes me a boomer or what, but.
If we go back many, many years, there was a story where Match got sued because they had their own staff reaching out to male members and setting up fake interactions and even dates that they'd no show for. So if that was the business model, I want to say over a decade ago, then it's probably even more of an issue now. And I would say, if I had to guess, more of the fake profiles are probably on the female side.
I think that's a safe guess. AI sounds like you could probably ramp those fake profiles. My goodness.
I mean, they have that now.
Though,
Sorry, go ahead.
Stock's trying to move over yesterday's intraday highs. So all of that notwithstanding, maybe we pop above here.
Yeah, it's a short squeeze for sure. This is another company that's deeply troubled, but also has relatively high short interest. And I think that's one of the catalysts for this thing moving higher. And, they're not especially expensive, forward PE of about 824. But the concern that I'd have is that, you have to believe in the business model and the vision. And the vision as articulated is something that is deeply concerning to me.
We'll have to wait and see if this ends up taking shape, but this thing has had a real tough time getting back above its 200-day SMA. We're talking like over the past 2 or 3 years having a hard time. Now we're above it for more days than it's been above it since 2022. We could be seeing the formation of a bottoming price action, maybe even an inverse head and shoulders. It would just have to reject the price at about 9 and start making its way back down towards under 6 if we're going to start to get that formation. So some things I'd be watching for is with a BMBL is if it can, if it's going to take out 9 and go to the 500-day SMA, or if it's going to get a rejection around 9 and start to put in some more of that bottoming pattern.
Funny you should say that. Here's his gamma chart for Bumble.
And we've got a big wall of calls just there around 10. So very close to that level you're watching.
Yep. And that's where the 500-day SMA is at 981.
Tuna here saying, did you know that LinkedIn is a dating website to find somebody with a job? I would push back on that. LinkedIn is an app to play that little zip game that I've been playing, and I currently have a 29-day streak of successful completions. That's what LinkedIn is for, Smoke Tuna. I don't know about all that, but man, that game got me hooked, and I've been checking it every morning now. Every morning. Amanda says LinkedIn makes me want to throw up. Man, People like to brag about average trades.
I'm humbled and honored to announce that I financed my Chipotle burrito using Buy Now, Pay Later.
So that's you have 4 payments to get that paid? Oh, yeah.
That's right. It's an M&A acquisition. This is the sort of stuff that people post on LinkedIn all day. That's why I just can't do it. I'm with her. It makes me a bit nauseous too, because there's so much humble bragging going on that platform constantly.
I'm telling you, that zip game, that's where it's at.
That's where it's at.
That's where it's at. It's just, I feel, you know what? Wordle did this to me when Wordle first came out. I feel like these little kind of puzzle games early in the morning help sharpen me, right? It's like it's like adding something to my coffee, right? It helps me kind of get my mind on track. I could be completely wrong. That's what I feel like.
You're right.
Tell me how Candy Crush sharpened your morning.
Candy Crush hasn't sharpened anything, dude.
No, I think on a real note, doing games like that involve problem solving, it does help to enhance neuroplasticity. It does help to boost that muscle that is our brain that atrophies if we don't use it. So it's a great time to do it earlier in the day and also as we're winding down.
Speaking of the mind atrophying, Mayhem, I would imagine that you came across this several weeks ago, maybe even a month ago now. We got in a study came out that said prolific use of ChatGPT and other large language models actually accelerated that atrophy that you're talking about.
100%.
People start to rely on using that, and they don't actually think about problems. They just know how to punch in some prompt and then read the answer.
Yes. And the scary thing is that the AI doesn't know what you're telling it, and it doesn't know what it's telling you. It has no reference point. It's just a big pattern matching system. And they've gotten really good at matching patterns, but we still need to do the critical thought to validate whatever it is it's telling us. Otherwise, like you said, we're basically, damaging our brains. And one of the biggest areas that study revealed that if you write a big paper using something like ChatGPT, even to assist you with bits and pieces of it, you have very little recall, but you also don't learn the core concepts of what it is you're writing about. So you might teach other people who read your paper, but you've learned nothing.
Yeah, it goes for writing. You understand words and spelling better when you write them out yourself instead of just type it or anything like that. Anyway.
My whole thing is like, if I write something down I remember it better.
Mhm.
And,
Yes.
and so simply reading it, I really learned this when I was like, you know what? I'm going to figure out string theory. I'm going to figure out quantum mechanics on my own. Yeah, that was a tough endeavor. I had to do a lot of writing to be able to keep some of those concepts in check there. Kevin says, why do I see Ryan, a number, and a robot? Kevin, because that's how we roll around here.
That's right.
That's how we roll around here.
We are not robophobic.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Riley, by the way, continue. That is actually staying above 6. I think we had 7 and 8 as the next levels there on Riley. Open holding up here. Didn't quite get to 3, but holding up here.
Imperium, when it comes to journaling, I think it'd probably just be easier to do it on your PC because you have spreadsheets that can help you organize it better. It would take forever to physically write things down. That's just me, though.
Yeah, we talked about journaling. We talked about journaling a couple of days ago. Someone asked a question about what service do you use? I'll be honest with you, I'm lazy on this. I literally export my trades through my broker. That puts it into a spreadsheet, and then I add a column that says notes, and then I type in stuff that I learned from that trade.
And the neat thing is, if you keep it in that type of a format, you can export it and you can run analytics on it, and you can start to get a sense as to what trades work, what trades don't work. And if you have notes in there, you can start to figure out where your edge is. Like, hey, I'm entering this trade because of systematic feedback. Like, I got a signal. And if those trades work, and then the more discretionary stuff, like, hey, I like the chart, but it didn't play out, you could start to figure out you're a more systematic trader, just as an example of how that journaling can add value. And then you could start to build consistency.
I didn't even do that step. That's pretty sweet, though. That's a good mention there.
Being asked to look at CLS the last 4 days by Kevin. Look, this is Celestica. Today we just put in what appears to be an all-time high, and we're backing off of that. I've been riding the 20-day SMA up since, earlier this year, May. It looks like it's coming back down to test this 20-day SMA again, and this sideways price action. What are we looking here for the last 4 days? Because it seems like it tried to go lower, break down beneath the 20-day, and then it got a lift back up and put in some new all-time highs. So what's important to you about the last 4 days here? Because for me, I think it would, if you want more highs, it's going to have to hold 160. So you tell me what you're looking for there.
By the way, Bank of America printed some new highs. We took a look at that one earlier. Here's the CLS gamma chart. Thank you, Mayhem.
Yeah, you got it. So 170 looks like the current call wall, but you can see there's just lots of interest overhead, and it continues to roll higher. So if we're just looking at it from an options perspective, it seems like it has room for continuation based on that interest being expressed at those higher strikes.
There you go.
And so Kevin here saying if it breaks, it's going to run. Well, this gamma chart gives you some of those spots there, right? It looks like this was 170.
Breaks what?
170, 175, and 180.
Yep, 180.
Yeah, breaks what exactly, though? 165 is a big level. So because here's the thing. Those levels you're talking about, we've already been there this morning. We opened at 172, and we've done nothing really but drop. We did get a little bit of a bounce down at 162, so whole $10 move. But we moved through those levels already. So if you're saying if we recapture them, we're gonna fly.
I'm saying if we could make a close above that 170 call wall, that would leave room for continuation. I like to look at these as closing basis levels rather than intraday. And yeah, the intraday price action is not super encouraging from that perspective, but let's see where we go to the afternoon, because these things tend to be pretty darn volatile. Right now, intraday, it's just trading above its implied point of control based on the session volume profile.
So I guess it might not happen today, but don't leave it off the table for tomorrow. It could happen then.
Yeah, especially, and a weekly close above these levels is even more meaningful in the way I look at them.
Take care, Judge.
Yeah, take care of yourself, Judge. Good to see you. SBET here, that continued higher here. Still hasn't broke 30. We talked about that being a level, but SBET on another leg up here.
Kevin agrees with the robot.
Yeah.
All right. So what else are we looking at here?
Netflix
like
so far held 1162. That's bouncing a little bit, but I still like our targets. I still think I'm going to try and be patient on that and see if we test lower.
And with SBET, looks like call wall around 32. With some interest rolling up to the 40 strike as well on SBET.
Take care, Kevin Robinson. Have a good
Take
one.
care, Kev.
Yeah, take care.
Here's your SBET call wall.
Yeah, just right there around 30. Looks like about 32. And then rolling higher, you can see 40 has also got a pretty decent amount of interest.
I think earlier I was saying that 30 was the spot that might have, yeah.
BMNR, this actually did get bought off of its lows. It's really kind of tested this 38.5 level the past several sessions here. Won't break down yet, but mark that one. That's going to be a key spot.
You know, James, we have seen Spotify trade similarly with Netflix. So if Netflix is coming down, we might see Spot come down with it until their earnings.
Yeah, I think the last time we took a look at this, it was Jay Rice that said that Spotify was moving in sympathy with Netflix.
It was.
And that was the down direction. Yep.
I imagine they're in a lot of the similar baskets for hedge funds too, and others.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
The two best streaming services in their different respective fields. You got video streaming and then audio streaming.
Yep.
Mayhem, I know you've done this for the happy hour crew, but Tommy here is asking, can you explain what a call wall is?
Yeah, sure. So call wall is where you see the largest concentration of gamma exposure on the call side above price. And often is the case that that's an implied area of resistance because there's so much interest there that once you reach it, you've got folks that are likely to cash in on some of those positions. You also have market makers that may defend it a little bit. But on the other side of it, if you want to see whether that resistance level is going to hold, what I like to look for is a close above and rolling up a positioning higher on the chain. That'll give you a sense that there is some continuation and that there's also interest in seeing the thing move higher. On the other side, if you get a rejection at the call wall and you're not seeing interest move higher, that can give you a sense that it's a more formidable level of resistance worth respecting.
Okay, good stuff there. Tommy, let me know if that helps. Real quickly here, the struggle bus asking, is your guest AI? Okay, so I guess that there's no better time to do this than right now.
Yes,
I am.
Yes, he is AI. This is Mayhem AI. This is an AI program that I've been working on, and I'm just going to break the news now. I'm going to PR through me right now that NVIDIA has invested $200 million in yours truly for Mayhem AI, which you guys have access to here today. So
we'll be IPOing next week.
Exactly. We'll be IPOing next week, and I won't sell till the lockup period ends. No, he is not AI. Really, really sharp guy. Joins us a lot. Uses our tools, by the way, not to plug Benzinga here, but uses our tools to do a lot of the stuff that we're talking about here. So we're happy to have him on and share his expertise with the group.
Hit a like for the AI guy.
Yeah. And I will say I was gaming the other night and someone asked me that too. Like, are you an AI? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not?
might as well be. Might as well be.
You'd understand if you had robot legs. I
assure you I can walk better than the
grandma's boy
Optimus.
reference in there, baby. There's a robot legs. Let's go. How did they see me?
How can they see me?
Sorry.
SFET trying to push up into 28. It almost got through at the last 5-minute candle.
That's good, Bobby, but we don't have Dance Dance Revolution, so you're dumb. I love that movie so much. Oh, 13, thank you. You put a smile on my face early today.
Hey, no problem. Here we go with SFET knocking on the door of 28 here. There it is. And looks like ALB's pulling back. That might start to trend a little bit lower here.
Cole's here. This still making its way back up. This has kind of been strong all day. So to the point here about whether or not we're still seeing some squeezes, Cole's is one of them. Open is moving up here. Some more X Sniper saying open is about to break down. Okay, well, maybe that's good timing there. Maybe that's going to end.
You got the VWAP right about 270. If it doesn't hold that, yeah, I think we're headed down further, probably back down to where the pre-market highs were, around 250.
The character of this move in Coles is completely the opposite of Tuesday. You have aggressive accumulation. I just shared a book map chart of this. You can see those large delta buy bubbles right from the open and all throughout the session. And we can also remember we talked about 14 being a large level of interest. We got pulled right into it. Buyers took it out aggressively. And that's exactly what you want to see. If you're subscribing to auction theory, which I personally do, the idea is you've got more supply coming online and demand is able to exceed it, right? So you see those offers coming in overhead, and you've seen this throughout the day. Every single offer that's popped up overhead, buyers have gotten aggressive into those offers, and that's telling you they have more than enough demand to overtake it. So I think this thing could reasonably get to about $15 today.
Okay. Also pretty specific there.
Yeah, that's the next big offer cluster. There's about 60,000 shares on offer between 1480 and 15.
Okay.
Well,
almost out of time here.
Yeah.
Been a really good week though, and like you guys have really kind of been saying, next week is likely going to be another big week here. So it's nice to kind of put this one to bed, have a good week here.
SBET through 28 now.
Another potential squeeze in the biotech space, VSTM. Up just shy of 4% here on increasing volume with a pretty decently shorted float, about 28% and change. And the chart is starting to look pretty interesting here too. This move today is bringing us above the 200-day moving average.
Yeah, 5 days to cover.
Okay. All right. Folks, we are about out of time. Mayhem 13. I just want to thank both of you for joining us here today. Really, really good stuff. As always, any closing words for the group? Start with Mayhem.
I'll just say it's always a pleasure to be here with you guys. And for folks out there that are trading this market, just be careful if you're playing these squeezes, how much you put in terms of your total portfolio and how long you stay in. Both of those are risk factors that need to be very carefully managed.
Okay, thank you very much. Smash up the like from my man Mayhem here. We will keep having you back, Mayhem. Have a good, profitable rest of your week.
Thank you, Mayhem. Appreciate you bringing the value to the show. And that's also time for me to split here too. So I will say take care, folks, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good times today. We'll have some more good times tomorrow. Stay green. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Sounds good, 13. I'll just echo what they both said. Really, really good stuff here. Cannot thank you all enough for joining us on a regular basis. You're the reason we do this. You're the reason the chat is so good. Pat yourself on the back. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and we will close the week out strong here on Friday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused.